And shorts, and surf, and scuba, and sand, and sailing, and soccer. San Diego, California.
Season's greetings and welcome to Two Balls and a Mic, episode 227, live here on a Monday inside of the Two Balls and a Mic garage presented by San Diego Football with the great, powerful at Young the Ryan. Ryan Young is going to be joining us for today, where we're going to go ahead and talk about the breaking news we had already talked about a couple weeks ago, actually. Chucky Lozano to SDFC is all but done, confirmed. Details incoming of what this means and what we can expect from this emerging team in a venue that's seen some really cool stuff, some Wave stuff, some Legion stuff, some Coldplay stuff. And Jimmy Buffett, rest in peace, Jimmy Buffett. Didn't think he was going to get a shout out here, but we're also going to go ahead and talk about the current tenants, San Diego Wave, who are coming back and playing against Orlando Pride. The internationals are also on their way back. We've seen them in action across the multiverse of soccer. We're going to break that down. We call the Sirens as well. That's going to be our segment, bi-weekly segment that we have with the Sirens, the Cove, the supporter group for the San Diego Wave. We're going to have Z on. It's going to be fantastic. And it's Ryan, so we never know what's going to happen. We never know what's going to happen. Season's greetings to everybody who is joining us. It's scary. I could just it's like on a dime.
Turn it. I just want to give Tony a shout out. The studio looks phenomenal.
I had to clean
Picked up
it
a little.
Yeah, 100%. This looks exactly the same. Like this frame looks
Yeah,
exactly
I was
the same.
going to say.
But you know,
The outside part
the outside, no,
looking phenomenal.
100%. But all right. So hi, welcome back. Welcome back, Ryan.
Yeah, no.
You know,
great to be
we have had this entire season for San Diego Wave the mantra of they're the team that's playing. That's the bigger story. That's because it's actively happening in San Diego soccer wise. But I think with this pause in action for San Diego Wave, with SDFC really coming into this weird stage where things have to start happening quickly. Just because of the timeline, February is when the MLS in San Diego is supposed to kick off with SDFC. There's 3 players officially: Duran Free, Yepe, and Marcus Invartsen. Hopefully, a 4th is going to be coming soon, very soon. Something again that we had talked about here. And Chucky Lozano is all but penned for SDFC in San Diego. So we have to start there, I believe,
for sure.
today.
I mean, initial thoughts, right? Like I think it's surprising. I was very much on the wagon, like saying, you know, Chucky's not going to go to MLS, knowing that he just got cut off the Mexican national team for Copa America. But then all this is happening. I'm like, okay, then it just tells me he just gave up on Mexico, and he's not going to care about making the World Cup anymore or anything like that. That's just my initial thought.
Look, man, this silly little podcast has been approved for credentials for the Mexico game, for the Copa America. So thank you for everybody who's been supporting us after
Thank you.
these 4 years that is making these dreams come true. And I was really hoping to see San Diego FC's Chucky Lozano represent Mexico against Venezuela at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles.
Maybe you'll get to watch a game with him.
Exactly. He's going to be a neighbor to the south. Yes, sir.
I was going to say, there's already bets on the chat saying over under 3 hours episode with Ryan joining us.
Hell yeah.
Esteban saying over easy.
100%. We love everybody who joins us on these marathons, or you know, they love just kind of getting that inside info, and at the end of the day, it's just a very objective view of the way things are. Again, might I remind people, the first time that you probably heard that MLS was even coming to San Diego was with this triumvirate, this brain trust in here. You know, a little bit more cells on the west side of the table, northwest side, you know, south side. It's we're carrying. We love you, Chiba.
This is the south side. Yeah, you're right.
It took you that long.
I was like, wait,
I call it the Andrew Carlson side.
Oh, hey man,
Big
You know
shoes
what?
to fill.
You know that we have one of these Two Balls and a Mic shirts with an official San Diego Loyal nameplate
Really?
that says Carlton on the back.
No.
Yeah, 100%. I'll I'll pick it up.
It was a present.
It was a
given to Tony.
present. It was a gift. If the person would like to reveal who that was, that's
made
fine.
it.
If not, that's fine. But it's one of one of the funniest things that
Oh, you mother
unveiled.
flower! You have a birthday this week?
I do on Friday at the
Ah.
Wave Game Friday.
hell yeah,
That
working it or
is
just
awesome.
enjoying.
I'll be working it. Absolutely.
So if you see Ryan on Friday across the
Happy birthday!
pitch,
you.
Basher Field, say happy birthday. Was it 25th birthday in a row?
Oh yeah.
4th time in a row? 5th time?
How old do you think I am?
Oh,
Oh,
why are
this
you
is gonna
fucking
be great.
asking
No,
me?
because it's funny. Because whatever you say is gonna be, you're either gonna get it or not.
I'm gonna go with 36.
I'll be 39.
You look good for 39.
Thank you. Even if you're lying to me, I'm okay with that.
Oh, you look great. You
I
look better than
wasn't,
him.
which is actually in retrospect a little meaner.
You look better than him. Don't worry.
We'll see. I mean, I
I don't
look
like it.
ten-
I don't like it.
I don't like it
I don't
either.
like it
I
either.
don't like
I don't like it.
corporate Tony
Yeah,
either.
no. It's
clean
like-
shaven. You know, they got a.
Is this
the
for
sponsors.
Copa America?
This is Jose.
Like with that
Jose.
double chin looking like
Hola,
a
¿qué
nutsack
tal?
or something.
Yeah, no, I submitted a picture that looks similar in dorkiness to this for Copa America, and it seemed to have worked.
Just looks
Mm.
sticky everywhere. Like no,
It's
like,
not. I'm like a snake. Like it's not wet or sticky
I'm
at
not
all.
touching your double chin, but
Like, I mean, you can touch the other. You can touch the other two. It's fine. This is why this goes off the
cara de
rails.
huevo.
Yeah, egghead. Yeah,
Egghead.
that's a good one in English too.
I was asking, right, you guys, right as we came on, but in terms of the Chucky Lozano signing, and I said if you had in your head kind of that list you were just putting on, like, hey, the people you were hopeful in, talent, in kind of charisma, in terms of somebody that they could brand this team around. I guess where did Chucky Lozano rank in both of that for you guys, and how happy are you that this is now done and they can use it as a building block going forward?
The way you worded it is happy for them, right? As in SDFC.
Okay.
Good. I mean, good. Get the best players to represent San Diego. Objectively speaking, removing myself from any type of fandom, may or may I not have it for San Diego FC itself. It's the best move potentially. Like if you go down the list of players to sign that are the complete package in terms of they can go ahead and really be part of a community that understands him, that values him from a marketing standpoint. It's going to make more dollars. Like it just makes sense and dollars to bring somebody like Irving Lozano over, which it's crazy that you have the same speech impediment that he has for anything that's English for Irving Lozano. I'll put you on the spot. You're right. How do you say his first name?
The silent H. I said it sounds Russian.
Irving.
Irving.
Comrade Irving.
Irving
Welcome
Lozano.
to San
Irving
Diego FC.
Lozano.
I like that. I like that little spin. Chucky or Chuck.
So you're saying this signing is more to attract eyeballs that aren't obviously already on this team. So
Mhm.
this isn't for to the San Diego fan. You're saying I'm not as excited about this, but as like just a general fan.
Other way, as
Okay.
the San Diego person that
Yeah.
can potentially see a San Diego team in the major league bring a championship to the city that I love and support, it's a
Yes.
good move.
Great.
Removing myself from that in the terms of the Mexican fan that I am, it's not a good move for him
Or for
Beca-
Mexico.
or for Mexico in general. And then that trumps everything. Like it can be a move that is positive for him, for the family. I may get to know Lozano through this adventure, become best friends. He would usurp Landon because Landon hasn't hit me up in a couple months. But it's that factor of, well, he's still good enough supposedly to be able to be an elite prime Mexican asset to the national team, but yet you're going to the MLS. You're going and choosing to essentially retire. And this is just the narrative of what Mexican fans and Mexican national team fans are saying about a potential move of this. Still not technically official, but again, we pretty much confirmed it a couple weeks ago. Yeah, no, it's there.
It's happening.
It's there. It's happening. Seems like it's going to be very soon this week. But Chiva, I mean, I know you have a very similar take for Irving Lozano here.
Yeah, right. I think Chucky Lozano, like we all knew SDFC was going to bring a Mexican player, right? Because that's the target audience that they're going. They want the Mexican people from San Diego, from Chula Vista, from anywhere here in San Diego to be at Snapdragon to support this team, to get that Liga MX vibe, kind of like what LAFC has going on, right? If they were going to bring a talent that is Mexican, Irving Lozano, Chucky Lozano is top of that list. And a lot of talks of Raul Jimenez, Chicharito, other players. Chucky Lozano, I think, is, if anything, a surprise. As like Tony was saying, he's still good enough to play, to get a starting position for next year's World Cup for Mexico. And yeah, even if he's not getting minutes at PSV, he's still playing. And I've said this before, I'm a strong believer where playing anywhere in Europe is way better than playing in MLS or playing in Liga MX or anywhere here in America. Him leaving PSV, like, you're leaving those training sessions, you're leaving that environment, you're leaving that football mentality that Europeans have, which is top tier, and you're coming to MLS where you're really just here to make money, sell jerseys, play at a top level for sure. Like, you're still going to play your level and you're going to shine, but are you really getting the best of everything? You're really giving up on Mexico, like Tony said.
One of our biggest supporters, and I know the soccer community who's been here for a while knows of this individual, and we've had a lot more conversations that we have mentioned of these conversations on the podcast, is our buddy Glenn. Remember Glenn?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody loves Glenn. Theo Glenn, Uncle Glenn. He actually put a question out there to us, and one recently of like, well, if he comes, Chucky Lozano to San Diego, like, is he gonna have? Is his heart gonna be in it? No, I don't think so. Like, I really don't think so, because there's no tie necessarily. One can fall in love with the city once they're here, but is the reason of Chucky coming to San Diego really a fervor that he wants to come and represent San Diego, that he wants to be in this particular community? Or it's the best situation career-wise, monetarily wise for him at this point, where he sees like, well, this chapter of selección and a national team is kind of closing. It seems like it's turning a new leaf. The one thing that I can say that I think can be a potential positive, and this is very, glass half full, is that Lozano is going to be part of a mentality where, like, well, if I play well in the MLS, if I play well in the USA, if I play well where the World Cup is going to be held, maybe that's going to be enough for the Mexican Federation, whoever is going to be coach and putting this team together, to say, okay, well, at least have you as a,
Have you there?
Have you there for it, because you're playing well in America, like, you're playing okay, like, you're going to bring in, at the end of the day, the more people you bring in, they're not going to need help, but it's more eyes. And that's the mentality of the Mexican national team throughout, is that they have these big names, these big stars, and they squeeze all the juice out of them until they're at retirement age, possibly after they should have already retired, and they play them at World Cups, like one last hurrah. The only player that I think has actually stepped up in that way has been Rafa Marquez, I feel. Rafa Marquez, captain for Mexico, a center back for years, played in Barcelona with young Messi, with Samuel Eto'o, with Puyol, ¿qué más? Thierry Henry, Zlatan. Like, this is kind of Ronaldinho. Like, this is that age where this one player aged like wine, and he was able to translate that into the game at a later age. But that's not the case for a lot of the players that make appearances in the Mexican national team at a later age. Guillermo Franco, Bofo Bautista.
Look at Carlos Vela, right? He aged like fine wine too. And it's funny you mentioned, like, is he coming with love? Like, he's gonna love the city, he's gonna love the game. Carlos Vela hated playing soccer. He hates soccer.
It's a job.
It's a job.
It's clock
and
out.
That's the thing. Who cares if the love is in it? It's hard to love an expansion team. It's hard to love something like brand new. I mean, you think of Cholos, right? Cholos, new to Liga MX, but they still had a team in second division, and it's very different earning your spot, moving up from the second division to the first division. There's a passion, there's a love that you can have for that, but it's really, in my opinion, I can find it really hard for a player to come into SDFC and say, oh yeah, I love this team. Like, it's a brand new team. This team was bought to come into this league.
Yeah, I think for that's something that you have to let evolve in itself. You know, I think that's similar to, and I'll use, say, Manny Machado coming from the Dodgers to San Diego.
Yeah.
Like, I think if you asked him, like, do you love San Diego? And that, like, even before he got here, he'd be like,
There's no ties.
yeah, sure, I do. But I think it took them, right, making the playoffs, like having the playoff success, overcoming the Dodgers, and all that, like, feeds together the fan sentiment. And I think all of these players are human, where it's going to take the fan love, and right, as long as Lozano gives the fans something to love, you know, like, I think that's gonna be the link there. And right, winning is obviously the best recipe for that. You know, I was doing some research ahead of coming on here, and somebody compared and said, is this the Wayne Rooney DC United signing? Like, oh, this is the attention grabbing, and it seems like we're going to be building something, but really that's just our brand face. And really we're kind of doing this around here. Obviously this is too early to tell, but in terms of the other pieces that you would say, the next piece that you would love to see paired with this Lozano signing would be what? Kind of like, hey, stay true to the right to dream that you guys have been talking about, and that, right, that's going to develop, and it's going to be players from Ghana coming here. That's going to be players from, right, you know, all those other places that they have kind of generated. Or is it going to be more of, hey, we're going to bring another designated signing?
Well, here's the thing with Lozano, right? His play style really lends itself to the right to dream mentality and philosophy of playing, that fast counter-attacking style through the wings, through the middle, have quick pass and goes. And Lozano as a pacey winger who's incredibly skilled with the dribble. And we'll give you that. He'll give you that intensity. He'll give you the track back action. He'll go back and get a ball. He'll yell at his teammates if they don't, because he's doing it. And if they work as a unit, you're gonna get there. His production is still a question mark, because while his production dipped in PSV Eindhoven this last season, even though they won the championship, like he was wasn't necessarily a critical aspect of that championship winning season. He's more of a cult classic hero that's coming over where he once was, and did very well, went over to Napoli, played with Insigne and company, and had a very, very, very good run, helping bring Napoli the first championship since Maradona played in the 80s. With, you know, just huge in a world where, you know, you don't necessarily see a third or fourth party team just kind of come in and win the whole thing.
Now wait, you're talking about, right, the production element. Like, do you think whatever production, right, he's, say, having at PSV right now, and if it's kind of like the swan song coming back called Hero, what kind of production are you wanting him to have at SDFC? Because it doesn't have to be the same as PSV, because you're probably going to rely on him a little bit more, right, than PSV is relying on him.
They want Lozano to be boys against men, and the same way that Messi is, in the same way that these players are coming from international waters over into the US and just destroying, and just, you know, obviously you
rack
still
up
see
goals,
you know, be a highlight machine, and again, be that focal point for a lot of the memories that we know of this player. And that's why it's a nostalgia league. Like, people say it's a retirement league. I think about it sometimes of more of a nostalgia league, because you remember, like, oh man, David Beckham, when he would, you know, do those free kicks for Real Madrid and England, like, man, that guy, I hope he does it here in LA. When you see a Bastian Schweinsteiger, a World Cup winner, a absolute, I knew that name would tickle you. But an absolute unit in the midfield who comes over and retire. Well, you're not going to see that guy that you saw at Bayern Munich. You're not going to see that guy that won the World Cup. It's the shell of him, and that's with respect. It truly is, just because of the prime. There really hasn't been a player that encapsulates how good they were and translated it completely into the MLS. Messi's just having fun. Messi's having fun, though.
Like, 12 goals already. Like,
now, right, it's been reported he's going to be making, right, between $7 and $9 million. Obviously, that's all reported. That we don't know that for sure, but that would make him, right, within the top 5 paid players. Do you think he's a top 5 player in MLS once he comes in next year?
Yeah, I think he would be, just based on talent alone. Like, I mean, when you sign Chucky Lozano, you're not signing a leader. I've never seen him as a leader for Mexico, for Pachuca, for Napoli. Like, he's never been that leader type player where he's just going to motivate everyone into it. He's kind of like does his own thing and like makes his impact and lets his game speak for himself. With that, that's why I do think he's going to be top 5 players in MLS. I mean, if you're paying that, you're expecting that much, right? So looking at other players like Arango, you have Messi, you have younger players that are on the rise, like Almada. I think it's Almada from Atlanta United, 23-year-old Argentino. Like, so you have all these up and coming players that have potential, their goal is to leave MLS and go to Europe, but then you have Chucky Lozano who can still compete. So to answer your question, yes, he should be. I think he would be top 5, top 3, if anything. I mean, I fucking hope so. A fucking Mexican player coming in, he better fucking tear it up.
What, I guess, right, the whole cross-border element of this, is he a player that fans from TJ are going to be like, I want to come see him play?
Yeah, I think so.
Let me show you.
I think so.
Let me show you when I talk about this nostalgia trip.
Yes.
It's 2018. It's about, I want to say 7:30, 8 a.m. in the morning. It's World Cup time. It's summertime. I have called out for 3 months, putting my time because I knew I was going to watch this game, Mexico versus Germany. It's a group stage. Mexico has never beat Germany. Germany kicked out Mexico in the 1994, 1990s. It wasn't France because that was another team. World Cup. So there's a revenge game aspect. They're the world champions at this point. They have just won the World Cup in Brazil, destroyed stuff. It's insane. But you still want to see Mexico play against the best of the best.
I think I actually just watched this goal today.
But did you watch it with Mexican commentary?
I did not, which is a shame.
Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
It's right here.
Right here.
That's the goal.
That is going to put people's butts in Snapdragon Stadium.
I mean, right, just watching the highlights that I did today of him, he's exactly the type of player that, having worked in social media and PR, I dream about, because he has charisma, he's fiery, like seeing everything, like suppose he has like 8 red cards, right? He plays.
Yeah.
He's a guy that, like, that to me alone, and that passion right there, it makes me go, I love this signing.
Yeah.
I love everything about it, because this is what we've talked about when it came to San Diego Wave starting and how long, right, it took them to get a Mexican player on this team. 3 years.
Yeah, 100%.
SDFC says, here you go.
Let's kick it off with the biggest one available right now. Because again, you have these bigger starlets that are in Europe that they're making their own career. Chucky Lozano's career has been made. If you go and look at his career in a retrospect, if you were to put him in the Hall of Fame of Mexican national team career, just Mexican national careers, he's up there.
Really?
Because again, like you know, you got to put a lot of people. Who do you going to put? Hugo Sanchez,
Rafa
Marquez, Ochoa,
Chicharito.
Chicharito. Cuauhtémoc Blanco didn't play that much. Guillermo Franco, Andrés Guardado. I'll put Guardado on there.
I got 5.
Chucky Lozano's up there.
That's
I think he was like
the thing,
6.
though. That's the thing.
Vela,
Like,
6, 7. Yeah.
Top 7.
Yeah. And that's the Mount Rushmore of just careers that people like legends like Luis Hernandez, El Matador, would have loved to have had that European experience. Like these legends that we think about when we grow up. El Bofo Bautista never played in Europe. And these are players that we revere.
but I think like these players like Cuauhtémoc Blanco, Bofo Bautista still left a bigger mark for Mexico than what Chucky has. Like Chucky gave us this moment, but other than this, what else has he done?
And that's true.
But couldn't you say,
But that's enough.
like, are you underestimating maybe the motivation and how much he's gonna love starring in this league as close to the border as possible, and just sort of taking all that and being sort of like, hey, I got all of MLS eyeballs on me, right? The year before World Cup. Like, are we underestimating that motivation that he might have? Like, talking about the whole idea of like, is he going to love coming here? Is he coming here for the right reasons? Like, to me, I'm going, I mean, I don't know anything about Lozano, like personality wise, but I would think that a guy like that, who's that fiery, is going to come here and be like, I'm going to show you guys.
Look, man, this is a guy that went on an interview to ESPN and said, I'd rather go to Liga MX over MLS to try to pull strings and get more money to come to MLS. So I can see him out of pity just say, I'm going to fucking kill it here to piss off the Mexican Federation for cutting me off the squad and potentially having Jimmy Lozano lose his job over that.
Yeah, I mean, like he would be a revolutionary by doing that, by doing the route of going to the MLS in order to come back to the national team.
Bella did that in a way too.
Yeah, and I think that's something that you need a player in form in these tournaments. The World Cup is a tournament at the end of the day. So if you ride the hot hand, for the most part, you're gonna be good because it's a short period of time. You only need these players to perform this amount of time. You see players coming out of nowhere and making names out of themselves. James Rodriguez had a great World Cup in Brazil, a Colombian national, and then it was immediately picked up by Florentino Perez for Real Madrid, and suddenly he's worth $100 million. And Angel Di Maria, like and that's what happens. It's the grandest stage of them all. It's the showcase of the immortals.
That's my favorite part of the World Cup. Nah, I just want to say this.
I got that. No, I got that reference. Did you get that reference?
I got the reference.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
I like that.
This is the only way I see Chucky Lozano making the World Cup roster. Yes, he can play good and he can still be phenomenal. If Mexico fail and they do a terrible performance in this Copa America this summer, Jimmy Lozano loses his job because he took a risk by cutting out a bunch of these players and putting that trust on the youth and the younger players that rightfully deserve that spot. But if they fail, this, Tony, that's how the Mexican Federation works. If they're an embarrassment this summer, Jimmy Lozano's out. Someone else that just gonna listen to the Federation and who they want in comes in. Chucky Lozano gets a spot in the World Cup, and then San Diego FC have their player in the World Cup. So
I would think this probably is a question that, right, if this signing gets announced soon, and I would assume that SDFC probably has something in the works of making this a big announcement, probably with inviting the fan base to come enjoy this, because why not, since you have no other games to kind of rally the fan base around.
Yeah.
But I would assume some of those questions of asking him why, the motivations, all that.
Yeah.
I'm counting on two guys that I'm looking at maybe to ask some of those questions, but I would think all that kind of comes.
Well, that's assuming he's here for a press conference when he's announced.
But he's backstage, or not stateside, but where does he live in the off season?
I mean, they come back, or if anything, they go on holiday, as they call it in Europe, and they just kind of go globetrot here and there, and then come back. They go on vacation, they go home for a couple weeks, and then they're back in Europe or wherever they're at, just to go ahead and do preseason tournaments, which are rather global for Europe. Like they can play in Indonesia. With Borussia Dortmund coming to San Diego, that's very exotic for a German team to come over to tropical San Diego. But I think just in terms of where he's at in coming to San Diego, it's going to be the right choice for both parties. I think Abe put in the private chat, he has 12 million reasons why to be here. And if that's the case, then so be it, right? We have Messi over at 20.8. You're not going to get there. You're somewhere in between that and the highest paid domestic player, like that. You are definitely on track to be that focal point, that star. His play style is definitely going to give way to an explosive and exciting pitch experience. And to kind of go back to what you were saying, who do you pair him with? And I think some people in the chat had some great ideas and have, the idea of Kevin De Bruyne, Kevin, Home Alone 2 or 1.
Chucky Lozano was used at Universal Orlando, I think.
So, he's in the States, so it's close. It's near. He's one transcontinental flight to be in San Diego. There are rumblings from what I've heard of just things getting put together. And I'm not at liberty to necessarily say what's going to happen or what may potentially happen with a San Diego FC event. But what I will say is that this event that I heard coming up within this vicinity of days is not what was announced with SDFC of the Summer of Soccer. It wasn't on the map. It's not on the dates. That has to do with Copa America and probably Euros maybe. But there is already talks within I'm trying to get my girl out of trouble because she works for the city. But all right.
Shit.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think like,
You just did it by saying
because
that.
I know, but I'm not saying what I'm talking about. Because her boss is actually a listener. He's an Arsenal fan.
Mm.
He's such an Arsenal fan. Shout out, I guess. Don't fire my girl. Is that he named his daughter Arsenal backwards?
Wow.
Lanarsa, or like it's whatever Arsenal backwards is. That's the child's name, because he's such an Arsenal fan. So shout out. Anyway,
But to your point and
Mhm.
Dave's point, 12 million reasons to also make this an event that, right? I think San Diego FC, I think, have been very patient,
Yeah.
and they've been doing very good at getting out into the community. Everybody, I think, will recognize that.
100%.
This to me is the kind of flag, kind of sticking it in the ground and saying this is now the launch pad going forward.
Yeah.
And I think this is an event that gets people that haven't been out to those events,
Yeah,
that may have heard of them, didn't come, or aren't even aware yet. I think this type of signing, I think you bring Lozano here to San Diego, and that visual with the fan base, with the supporter groups, everything. Obviously, there's no jersey to hold up because they don't have a jersey yet, but
training kit.
They can do something.
Non-Adidas merchandise that they have at the store.
Yeah. And right, and
they'll do.
just knowing some of the things and some of the people there, Travis Lamprecht, who is
Shout out the Knicks.
right.
Sorry, guy.
Sorry, but who is at Loyal? I think knowing him a little bit, I think he relishes in these moments as a great kind of like anybody that loves marketing would, to be like, this is a fun moment, and this is where we can multiply. We can get those deposits. Because the last thing I'll say, and something that I remember about Alex Morgan from the first year with Wave, she really took pride in being able to be an engine to sell out that stadium. And I think any of those top tier players in any sport, they like don't underestimate that feeling for them to be like, you know what, right? I've been overlooked by Mexico. I'm left off this team. Watch me come fill this stadium right next to the border, and I helped do that. So I think that, to me, I love this signing. I love that, right? Everything about it in terms of it being a Mexican player as well. So, and just seeing some of the stuff I'm not too familiar with his game and his history, unlike this guy who I feel like knows his history very well.
And anyone going to Snapdragon when SDFC, it's gonna happen. El Chucky Lozano.
It's just built in.
El Chucky Lozano. Even some people in the press are gonna go like,
What, all three of us for year two? All three of us in the press box at year two? I mean, and again, the names that are getting floated, which are true, which I think we discussed this last week and the week before, is that you're hearing these links to San Diego FC, whether now it's not Marco Royce, he's now LA Galaxy player. But you heard Ramos, as they're mentioning also in the chat, Sergio Ramos being linked. There is truth to these rumors, and even if it's agents just throwing a name out there, so as we saw with Guillermo Ochoa, which ended up being like let's see what sticks. We've seen it with the coaches, with Hugo Sanchez, getting
so dumb.
It's the dumbest thing. But I think that this is really going to be that first piece of like, here's a giant flag, as you're saying, right? And then guess what? Very soon after, there's going to be a second one. There's going to be a second player where you can really just sit on your hands after you announce Chucky Lozano and just fly your entire roster underneath the radar after that, because you've made the big splash, because you have Chucky Lozano. And then, hey, we're going to sign, Joe Schmo from, the Right to Dream Academy from over here, and really build that out where, again, you're not going to have all household names, especially in the world soccer stage. But I think they need at least one or two more players with that name recognition that can play. Maybe not Kevin De Bruyne, exactly as Esteban's saying. Like, I think he has more years in Europe. But again, there's a price for everybody, but you gotta just play with the cap and the salary of that stuff. No Cuauhtémoc Blanco in the Mount Rushmore. I'll throw him in there just because he was a America truther. it's very fun to see just these things actually start happening because, again, from a objective standpoint of what's going to bring eyes to the project here in this garage, and very selfishly, like that's what's best for business, right? That's what Hunter
Mhm.
Hearst Helmsley and Stephanie McMahon always just spewed is what's best for business, and this is definitely the move on every end. Are we going to see him, in reality TV shows like we see Marco Fabian, trying to find love?
I couldn't believe that when I saw that. By the way, sorry,
Spoiler,
not
didn't
to
find it.
dovetail.
I
Man.
know. He's actually a owner, player, president of some club now. It's I don't know. It's wild. Well, the Wild
He's gonna
West.
own a team in the MASL too. So.
Juan Carlos Osorio, next SDFC coach. Heard it here first as
No.
Edwin. Rumors are that he's with Cholos.
Right?
But again, that was that coach that celebrated the goal of Chucky Lozano against Germany. So a cool little connection there. Kevin De Bruyne's contract expires in the summer 2025. There were some rumors that he may be moving this summer. There are there's
is
rumors.
not coming to
There
MLS
was contact. There was a communication, a link between Kevin De Bruyne's people and SDFC. So that is definitely true. But again, technically that is a conversation. So I guess there were talks, but that's as much as we have at this point on that end with Kevin De Bruyne. But look, this is going to happen. It's going to be huge. It's going to be announced soon. And like anything else, right? We saw SDFC have a sporting director and then not have one officially. Like these things fizzle out.
But he's still in the running.
No, he's
No.
staying at Monaco. Carlos Aviña.
Carlos
staying at
Aviña,
Monaco.
Okay.
he's staying. So again, it's really impressive what Tom Penn has been doing at in Vegas, just hustling, wheeling, dealing these deals. I don't know who's doing it. I think we were talking a little bit earlier and said, yeah, no, it's the right to dream people. Like they're looking for the people that's gonna meld well for the system, and can really truly be an asset for the greater good of things. Is it beneficial that he's going to sell a couple jerseys? Of course. Is he going to bring that Mexican fan base out? 1,000%. Again, I will.
Vamos a ver el Chucky.
Where to go?
Vamos. That's it. That's the conversation between people.
That right there. That lady's going to be there. Like that's the passion that's going to be present on the Mexican side of people that are going to see the hero Chucky Lozano coming to San Diego. And I mean, it's great. Like it's in the story of football. What?
That's his sister.
I know.
Is it really?
No.
That'd be fucking hilarious.
That'd be great. That'd be great. See, I'll be gullible for everybody just for the entertainment.
What about the PSG goalkeeper, Keylor Navas, the greatest CONCACAF player of all time?
I would love for Keylor Navas to be
cool.
with SDFC. That would be an amazing signing. Like, it's literally the greatest player in CONCACAF history. Like that would be such a. I think it would be a bigger signing than Chucky Lozano. There's a Champions League winner. There's a 3-time Champions League winner, if I'm not mistaken.
As much as the inner goalkeeper and outer goalkeeper of me wants to agree with you. I mean, no, it's not bigger than Chucky Lozano.
It's what it.
Just
no,
the whole
no,
package,
no.
the whole package. I'm not talking player wise. I'm not talking prime wise. I'm not talking best anything wise. The whole package on a marketing side, Chucky Lozano is the bigger deal than Keylor Navas would ever be. I don't see the incredible Costa Rican contingency being asked and tapped into in San Diego by San Diego FC.
Soccer-wise, he's a better signing.
100%. Yeah, better signing. Yeah, no, yeah, definitely.
I agree there. I agree.
I'd rather see my boy Duran Ferry come back and
I'd rather have
utilize
Keylor.
those.
I'd rather have Keylor Navas.
Utilize those Nate Miller, Matt Hall.
I'd rather talk to a Champions League winner.
Coque Vega style, outside the box, leading Chucky Lozano into a counterattack, into whoever's going to be in the middle, or just take it on himself. But we'll see where that takes us.
Duran Ferry passing the ball, yelling at Sergio Ramos, and not clearing the ball on time, and they got scored on. Oh, wow.
Look, I know Duran listens, so I hope that brings a smile to him, just knowing that can definitely be a possibility, and I hope he's ready for that challenge.
Even if he's not the starter, there's a red card on Keylor Navas, and now Duran Ferry has to hop on the field as a sub, and
and yell at Sergio Ramos for not being in position, for playing it too unsafely out of the box, making a bad pass and getting scored on. Oh man.
We're scoring an own goal.
I think these are San Diego dreams right here.
Yeah.
That's all I
No,
can say
yeah,
about
It's
that.
just it's fantasy
That's so
booking at
funny.
its finest.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, with SDFC, they did announce that they're having the summer of soccer. So shout out to them again, being very involved in the community, and what they are. Their ambitions have been since the beginning is getting out and really being one with the common man as much as possible, right? As much as a multi-million-dollar corporation with a lot of controversy behind it sometimes allows. But yeah, summer of soccer is going to be everywhere except for East County, except for the Hills Pub. Shout out. Why?
Shout-
I don't stay informed of what?
Hold
what
on.
do you
Go back, go back to
Yeah,
Twitter.
I'm
Go
gonna
back to the Twitter post.
Twitter post. Yeah.
Oh, I actually think that might be my photo.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me.
I think that's from the
So what games are they covering?
brand reveal.
This one? Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
You said what games are they
Yeah,
covering? in
what
this?
games are they?
I know they're
covering with
doing
this
one.
summer?
They're doing one wave
It's,
match coming
They,
up soon.
They are doing again. This is funny. Stay informed.
Just
inform
just
me of
type in
something.
your information.
No. Oh my god.
I
now he's gonna do it.
I personally despise this for sports. I ran into something like this too, and it's
Mhm.
like, just give me the option not to do anything. I just like, can I just consume the information? So it looks like the first one's June 8th, Mexico versus Brazil.
yeah, Mexico, Brazil, and then they are doing the Mexico, Venezuela, the 26th here in IB. It's just Copa America centric, and there is a post on
You
Instagram
can
that
just
better.
click on the background and it clears out.
But I don't want that, Chiba. I want it to be
Dumbass.
direct.
Educate them. Educate them.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, so it's the Euro opening match. As we have here, Copa America opening match, Mexico, Jamaica in 6/22, June 22nd. The US, Bolivia, 6/23. Venezuela, Mexico, 6/26.
We'll be at SoFi.
We'll be at SoFi for that. Hopefully we can.
Si Dios quiere.
Yeah, if Jesus himself allows for you to make it to
Yeah.
LA once again. I mean, you're in
Jesus.
one piece, so my safety rating is better than your Hyundai Elantra.
You please drive.
Yeah,
A
he's
1,000%.
driving.
Like it's
Not that it was
how
your
I-
fault
I don't know how the
by
fuck you
any
take over
means.
there.
You know what I love about this
Yeah.
though is this to me is a foreshadowing of the bar network that they're building for 2025 for their watch parties, probably on the road. So I think that's what I feel like this is sometimes an overlooked thing that gets set up last minute. So this is what I love about seeing this from SDFC right now is that network is already existing and it's just going to grow because they're going to do these events. They're going to get a ton of people out there. And then all these other bars are going to be like, hey, we want to bring you guys out there. So I think kudos to them. I love that they included Wave. I think that can't go without mentioning because I think the thing that we've all realized here when San Diego teams support other San Diego teams,
Yep.
it goes a long way.
Yeah,
So-
I mean the biggest San Diego soccer event that was co-held by Wave and San Diego Loyal at the time, I believe, was the watch party down in Seaport Village by the Embarcadero at Rady Shell, and that was a huge success. Like that was huge to really see those two entities come together.
Rady Shell.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's a great venue. It's one of those iconic now San Diego places that can really be
I've never been. It's a nice music venue, right?
I've been to it actually, and I saw some classical music that my girl won on Magic 92.5 because she still does that. She calls in and tries to do the online contests.
Yeah.
She's a coupon person.
I love that.
But it's a great venue, and so I really think that it would lend itself for another big event in the soccerverse potentially soon. It can definitely be a focal point. I think the angles are good for pictures. I don't know if you're ever interested in going to take a picture at Rady Shell during the day, at night. I know Nas played there. You know, I don't know if many Mexican nationals have
Dioro played
headlined.
there. Dioro just had a concert there.
Who?
Dioro? DJ? The DJ? You guys don't know
Uh,
Dioro?
Yes.
Disney
Mexican.
Orchestra also played there. But yeah, so it's a great venue, the Rady Shell. So I highly encourage people to visit
They're gonna
the
have
Rady
a watch party
Shell.
at Hoppy Days. You know where that's at?
Hobby Days is right down the street,
Yeah.
actually, and that's really cool. But yeah, so maybe if they put something together and make a cool event at the Rady Shell in Embarcadero, would be tubular.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I believe so.
Mm.
I don't know.
Mm.
I'm like going through my Rolodex of people who are gonna like,
Reach out to you.
yeah.
Wait, qué pedo, güey.
All right. All right. So Beardless Tony is done to. I like how you looked at it. One of you, I felt it. All right, bring it on. We're gonna definitely touch on SDFC a little bit more, because there were some first controversy that wasn't a self-inflicted wound, I guess, over the weekend with a post supporting June being Pride Month here in San Diego. So
yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
get into that here in a bit, but we're gonna change gears just a little bit. I know they love you. I don't know. I don't know. I hope you get a song from the Sirens and
Oh,
the
the
Cove.
Sirens. I thought you were saying
Um,
SDFC.
We know probably how they
They
feel
love you.
about you.
Okay.
Which is hopefully good. And yeah, I mean, I don't see a kosher reason for them not to.
Yeah, I like them. No,
Yeah.
there's no hard feelings.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe they're like, this guy just keeps showing up in this fucking garage.
Probably.
fine.
We're going to go ahead and really quickly change gears, and we're going to touch on some San Diego Wave action because there is a game coming up this Friday against Orlando Pride. Very apt matchup there. But we're going to go ahead and dive into our biweekly segment that we have a chat with somebody from the Sirens, the local supporting group for San Diego Wave in the Cove, right behind Kaylin Sheridan for half of the match. Bubble extraordinaire. This is. Do you have it, Chiva? No, you don't, because there's 3 people that can produce, and I'm for some reason the only one that's still clicking the buttons. All right, and with that, let me put some of us away. There we go.
Let's go.
Z, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are y'all? Good to see
We
you.
are.
Good.
How do you already use the word tubular? I am absolutely.
You're the thesaurus, so you gotta.
Yeah, no, now I have to. I am absolutely.
I think he thinks better with a beard on.
I think so too. My mind is in shambles. It's shambolic up here, so I can't think of that.
I would say things are better now that you've come on.
Absolutely have to agree with that. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been busy, but hanging in there. Lots of watch parties happening. So
Okay, let's start there. Our watch party's cursed. I think it was something that you might have brought up the first one, and I'm like, I don't think so. And then like 2 more watch parties happened. I'm like, okay, maybe.
Emotions have been tested, especially the last like 3-4 of them have been roller coasters.
yeah, the wave ones have been. The last one that I was at, I don't even know what happened. I just couldn't function. Like I can't even tell you. Like I was just screaming. I don't know. I was not a coherent person. It was rough.
Yeah, and don't worry. I feel like it's building the armor for like things are going to get better later in the year, and we're going to look back and be like, oh my gosh, the way the things started.
Remember when we were over here? And I think that's how last year went, right? And just in general, right? It was a weird, wonky year. You had these aspirations of going all the ways. People made plans to go to the NWSL championship game here at home. They were going to go all out. They probably called out of work the day after because they knew it was going to be celebration time. And we got what we got. It's still very good output in the season for San Diego Wave. And I think the Sirens too, there was a growth that happened last year that was very exponential, and that momentum still being carried through this year. And again, all kudos to what's been happening at the Cove. Are you happy with what's been happening with the Sirens this season?
I am. It's been challenging to grow so fast. Like it was a little bit like, oh, I thought this was going to be easy this year, but it was not. And it's been really good. Like we've had moving to the tailgate to the yellow lot has been great for us. We've had still new people showing up like every single game, every single tailgate, and people like I was at one game and I was standing towards the back because I knew I was going to chant lead, and sort of like keeping an eye out. And there's this guy standing like towards the back, and he's wearing last year's Sirens jersey. And I'm like, I don't know you. Who are you? You must be a Siren if you have like. There's exactly like we know like the names of almost every single person who bought a jersey. How do you have that? And he was like, oh yeah, I've been sort of watching it, and then I invited him to the tailgate. He came to the next tailgate. So it's like we're still like picking at little corners and finding like our little community and growing it. So that part's really good, despite what can be happening on the field sometimes. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What I was kind of curious because you're talking about that in terms of getting more of those people that I would say like are sort of, it seems like they're just like on the fringes, right? Like I'm watching you guys and I'll be like next to the section, but like getting the comfort and getting the confidence to like get those people to be more involved. I know that's probably a ridiculously hard recipe and like depending on the person, but like how have you found success to, I guess, like, I don't know if convert is the right word, but to like bring those people in to where like they're coming back for like the next event or they're like next game, they're kind of like within kind of the bubble of like being near all the chants and everything.
You really just have to like talk to people. I'm a super introvert and I don't like talking to people, but I really care about this organization. I want it to grow. So I've always made it a point to make sure that anyone I see who's wearing a Sirens gear or Wave gear that I like say, hey, come over, you can join us. You don't have to have like know all the chants. You can learn them as you go along, come to the tailgate, like whatever it is. We want you here, wave a flag, whatever. And a lot of people have told me that's the reason they decided to finally like cross the line and like come in, like and come off the corners. And so yeah, it's humbling because it's like, oh, like I'm a difference maker in that and bringing people closer. But it's really cool too to be like, yeah, we're building something, and it's really it's kind of nice that all it takes is like a conversation. Like people really want to be a part of something. And yeah, it's like we should all be doing that. I want that to really be our focus for going out through the rest of the year, really connecting with the people who already signed up, who are on the periphery, who are like watching from the sides and saying like, come on in. The water's fine. The metaphors continue.
The bubbles do not sting if they hit you.
They do not sting.
They do not. And if you can hit up the boy Weston Bray, he will go ahead and make sure that there's no litigation in terms of that, and he'll take care of the bill. But no, I mean, from the 20,000-foot view from the 100-foot tall press box, you can definitely tell with a couple of things, right? Like the Cove has really weaponized the Mexican wave in terms of knowing exactly when to really activate it. And you can tell again that people around the stadium are paying attention to what's happening in that section of the Cove, because for the most part, the wave works on a first time basis every time, which is incredible to start seeing. Obviously there's rogue waves up in here, but like the main one starts from that section. 1, 2, there's chance that I hear gets started from the Cove to the rest of the stadium. And that's something that the American Outlaws did incredibly well in the Gold Cup a couple of months ago, where it's like, oh wow, like this section of people are really leading not just the chants for their section, but for the entire stadium. And that's been able to really kind of permeate throughout the entire lower and top bowl of Snapdragon. So again, kudos to everybody who's there, megaphone or not. Drumming is I enjoy the drumming. Sometimes again, I kind of lose myself and go, and I'm just like, oh, like, can I be doing that? Like, it's just sound. I mean, can I not? I'm sorry, people, doing other things in there. But again, kudos to what's being built, and it's only just the beginning. It truly, really is. And again, it's a showing what's possible in that section for a supporter group, a uniform supporter group. To be able to accomplish in there. And I think that, it's just the beginning, like I said. And if you had a magic wand, is there something that you would want other than a more expensive bubble maker? Because
we got one
for the current one is absolutely ludicrous. And kudos to the team for investing in such an enjoyable thing as bubbles. Much like rogue waves, there are rogue bubble makers throughout. So again, this is all part of the extension, the tentacles per se of the Cove coming together.
Oh yeah,
By the way,
absolutely.
I was going to ask about that because
Oh,
I feel like Sirens are unique to at least my 4-year journey into American soccer, where y'all are the sole supporter group for San Diego Wave. And do you all feel like an immense pressure, or do you feel more pride in just being like, look, we know there's not multiple supporter groups for this club, but like we are sort of the engine to the energy in the stadium?
It's interesting because there's definitely different views with different Sirens. Like, I'm of the point of view that I welcome any other supporters group. Like, come on, let's play. I think there's always, with racial and ethnic and gender issues, like people might find reasons to want to organize with themselves. I think that can be cool. And so I welcome it. I welcome anything that grows our community and grows what we're doing. I think because we've been sort of chill about that and sort of like really intentional about making sure our group is inclusive and we are making sure that the door is always open. We haven't really had a real challenge or like a serious challenge outside of us. So it's happened pretty, I want to say organically, but it is like there is a mentality and an ethos. Like there is, what was put in well before I came around. The words were put on the website that the Sirens are inclusive, and we continue to live up to that. Anytime anything like that comes up, it's like we're not about that. We're about making a home for people, making community. So yeah.
And
We've
with
been
that,
lucky.
and with that, I think it's perfect to just bring up. I mean, we are in June. It is Pride Month, and the Sirens are starting their Pride Racer again. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Pride Racer is kind of cool. We definitely didn't start it. The Independent Supporters Council does this every year. So like MLS, all the North American like leagues participate, and in past years, Locals, Chavos, Rainbow Loyal have all like contributed different groups. This year, we're donating to or pledging to Trans Family Support Services. Their group here in San Diego. They've helped out our members' parents, our parents who are members in a lot of ways. So it's an organization that's pretty close to people's hearts. The way it works is you pledge a donation per goal. So that means we need to score goals in June in order to save kids. You have to save trans kids.
We need more than 9 goals so far.
Yes. We need to really, or you can just like make a bigger pledge. However that works out for you. But yeah, it's we're fortunate enough to be able to do these like in between all the fun, do some work to help out the community where we can. And so yeah, I'm really glad that we're doing this again this year. We just need the Wave to score goals. Yes.
Amazing, thank you.
Yeah, like that's a missing component. I think Jason would also appreciate that. No, I mean this is part of again that extension, that arm of the Sirens. And by the way, I love the new imagery, the new crest, the logo. I know. Can you give us some backstory, some kind of any insight on it by any chance?
I just so we had our board meeting and I was sitting next to Troy, who's our art director, and I look over and I see what he's working on, and I was just like, that's it, dude. Like this is so fire. like he keeps outdoing himself. Like I love it. It's so good. Yeah.
That's awesome. This is actually my first time seeing this. When did this get dropped?
Actually, I saw it earlier. I'm not sure when it did, but sorry. I interrupted.
Probably the beginning. I think it was on June 1st. I think that's when they did it. Yeah. And I think I might be wrong, but it should be stickers and some merch on the store that you can get to go along with that. Yeah.
I love that. And again, it's really something that San Diego Wave, the Sirens have both really done very well. Is just being in the community. And all right, this is going to be probably the most controversial or just
Controversial, Tony. Never.
Well, not me. I mean, but again, you can answer this or not, however you'd like. But you know, the San Diego FC, and we'll touch on it a little bit later with the post that they had woven into one with the pride colors, the LGBTQ plus community, and just really trying to put themselves out there. And the comments weren't positive. There was a lot of let's let soccer be soccer type of talk. In your position, if you'd like, just kind of like, why is it important to bring this and soccer together? Because it's incredibly important. At the end of the day, like I respect human beings, and that's it's a matter of respecting each other and individuals, being a good person. But is there a space for that, or is there something that the Sirens really kind of, you know, really want to champion that, as they have very well here in the community of San Diego?
Yeah, I mean, speaking for myself, sports are never just sports, right? Like sports are politics, they're community, they're reflections of who we are as a people. Like without the narratives around sports, there is like who would care? Like, you know, that clip you showed earlier, like that's a beautiful story. Like it matters, like than just like some dudes coming to San Diego, right? That backstory matters. So I think when people say, you know, leave this, you know, keep it to soccer, tell players to not talk about this and that, I think they're missing like one of the beautiful things about the game and about what we can do with it. I know personally, you know, I'm queer, and the first Loyal game I went to, I did not know what to expect. I was there with my friend who was also queer, and we saw rainbow flags waving, and we heard that there was a rainbow Loyal, and we were just like, where are we? This is the best thing, because we can be, you know, we love soccer, like, and we're not always sure that, like, you know, traditionally male spaces are for you, and to be able to like go in there, feel comfortable, feel welcome, you know, it's just it changed my life for the better, for sure. I think I can be a good, better human because of it. Like, so yeah, I think man, you're missing out if you don't if you don't bring some of that color into your life. So many good people and so many good things happen when you open your minds a little bit. So.
I love that. I really appreciate you sharing your personal views and thoughts on that, because it's important. I again, we'll touch on it a little bit, because I mean, look, how am I supposed to tell somebody how to enjoy the game? How am I supposed to tell somebody not to you know, be themselves when, you know, we're all being our authentic selves, and really at the end of the day rooting for a spherical ball to reverse a imaginary or sometimes very, you know, real line in between three posts. Like at the end of the day, that's it. Like I know a loyal listener, Jeremy, who grilled me on this when I always say it's just the game. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's more than a game, but it is just the game. Like it's for funsies. Like and let's have funsies all together. Like at the end of the day, if we all enjoy it more, I think it's for the greater good and more enjoyable overall. Gentlemen, do you have anything else at this point, or is there anything else from the Siren side?
Game this Friday.
Game this Friday, absolutely. That is coming on down. As Tanya was saying, it's the kryptonite for San Diego Wave. Pride has been
undefeated. Pride. So
yeah, and that was when they weren't good.
Yeah.
Now they've got like all these ringers in there, you know. But we're gonna keep cheering either way.
Yeah, I think this Friday is gonna be the best test that Wave has had, and I know, you know, it's gonna be tough because some of these international players that were out, you know, are not really going to be able to train with Wave heading into Friday night. But I guess neither of some of the Orlando players that were gone. So I feel like we're finally getting the team that we saw on that preseason list back healthy. And I think not only this match, I just want to see them compete with this team, because I will say Orlando, and to me, Banda is the most exciting player I've seen in the NWSL in the 3 years I've been watching. So like, I think if you're just a fan of soccer, this is a game that's going to be one of the more fun, I feel like, Wave home matches we've seen in the 3 seasons they've been a team.
I agree, very much so. And we'll be tailgating, so meet us in the yellow lot. Tomorrow we're going to be hanging out. Some of us at Fair Play to watch the U.S. versus Korea. And yeah. See
Absolutely.
you there.
It's a
Come say hi.
at Snapdragon. Come say hi to the Sirens. It's a great time, and it's honestly contributed to my hope of soccer and my bitterness and just the cynicism of the actual game to evaporate a little bit and really enjoy it for what it is. Cool. This Friday, be there. It took me forever to find this. I was just looking at there's no just this image.
Scrolling.
But it should be easier to find this match? Again, and
We'll
being
tell
critical.
Emma and Tyler at Wave. They just need to pin, the next home match at the top.
Exactly. So check them out.
Simple fix.
It's a simple fix. Anything else on the Sirens end that we can be on the lookout for? Exciting time. It's going to be a great summer. Hopefully we don't see people get baked into the seats or the standing area for any of it. Because again, this is the year that they have priority at Snapdragon. And hopefully I really hope that I like chaos. I really hope in a couple of years that Wave just maintain that attendance and that fan base and compete and look at San Diego State and be like, hey, we're not top dogs, right? But all right, we're averaging the same. But perfect. Anything else at this point that we want to let everybody know? Sign up.
No, I mean, I'll sign off in a couple of weeks. We'll start talking about our Pride Night. That'll be fun and all that stuff. And in the summer, it's going to be wild. So you'll be hearing a lot more from us.
Perfect. Really appreciate your time once again.
Thank you.
And this is why I love the Call of the Sirens. We're going to go into some San Diego Wave talk and preview this Orlando Wave match here back at home. So again, thank you for joining us. This has been Chiva. Oh, you have it.
This is Sirens. Thank you so much.
Ryan, you're the only person that really has an intimate view of how this show is put together, and I like that you enjoy it. It's just
absolutely.
Because again, we like what we do. It's got us to do some incredible stuff, but we do it.
I think that this call, I really enjoyed that because I think the bottom line that we're seeing and what I feel like you guys have also invited is a lot of people. I feel like love this soccer community here because it's a community. Mm-hmm. Most of my friends in San Diego are through soccer.
Yeah,
and that's just for somebody that grew up in Wisconsin that did not watch a lot of soccer. And if you asked me about soccer, I was a Milwaukee Wave fan.
Yeah. Indoor soccer.
Yeah. I mean, if you would have told me then, hey, all your friends when you live in San Diego are going to be through the outdoor game, I'd be like, what? This is insane. So I think this is the coolest aspect. And obviously Wave has introduced me to a whole nother community of soccer fans that are not saying the women's game is so much different than the men's game, but it's a different environment. It's a different community of people. And obviously I've gotten to know the Sirens pretty well over the last 3 years. And
they got to know you well. Again, you have different fan bases in the photography sense. You got
out there.
I mean, you're going to be a guest drummer before I am. And I for one, welcome that. That'd be a good little, just get an extra camera and just a GoPro and use it on a stick.
I don't want to compete with Paul though, because Paul has mastered the drumming, participating, and camera work, and I don't know if I'm up to that level yet.
We had Paul on last week, and I think that's one of the biggest just wild. That's right, you missed last week. Mm-hmm. I called Abe in an airstrike and said, hey man, what are you doing in the next 45 minutes? Can you make it to my house and be prepared for a show? And he came in and was absolutely ruthless when he came in, and
you said you liked having him.
He insulted me to my face.
I was able to tune in for a little bit, and the
Abe,
one thing I heard was,
Chiba never does this. I like this. I was
maybe he just likes to throw out compliments.
I'm a very complimenting person when people deserve it, Chiba.
I guess I never deserve it.
But people deserve it.
I didn't say that. Don't put words
not.
into my mouth, but I
like
that you like filling your mouth up with words that like to spew.
Okay. Hi, Abe.
Hi, Abe.
Hello.
Thank you.
I had a big seat to fill, but I'm glad that you're back here. It's a lot more fun when you're here, Chiba.
Fat.
Yeah,
I
no,
didn't-
former fat
Formerly.
guy, Cuba.
Formerly.
Former.
Ahí la
Hopefully,
llevas.
bro. Again, I haven't eaten in a month and a half. You saw me have dinner.
I did not see you have dinner.
You saw me
choked
have
that
dinner.
shit
Oh,
down.
that.
Yeah, that's his dinner.
Wow.
I haven't eaten for a month and a half, and I've lost like 35 pounds.
Let's go.
It's not
From
happy,
where?
Tony.
No, I'm just kidding.
From where? Ahorita te enseño, pendejo. Te lo saca la pinche regata.
Wow.
Whoa. Hey.
What's the excitement or concern
The
level for you
excitement
going
is-
into Friday with Wave?
I thought the excitement was like getting into
Sorry.
a 1X.
He was like, I'm gonna get to
1X.
play more.
I was
trying
to bring us back
to
healthier.
Dude, come on, nobody cares about that. Come on,
I
soccer.
can eat some food, some solid food. What am I excited for? I think to see what Wave are gonna come with when it comes to once again being very anemic in a sense because of that international play. It just ended. Maria Sanchez is coming back. You have Naomi Girma who just captained the U.S. women's national
Yeah,
team.
a little bit.
Technicality,
Warren the-
right?
Mhm.
Chiba,
Warren.
we're the number one soccer podcast and soccer outlet in San Diego, and that's basically a technicality. But I will ride and die for it.
Yeah, Casey Stoney
Um,
says that she doesn't pay attention to that. So
Yeah, but in any case, I'm excited to see what this team is gonna bring because there's a certain aspect of the squad this year that needs to be launched out of just a cannon. And while it can fizzle out in the long term, there isn't a consistency aspect. Whenever it comes back to a restart, a point where they're backed against the wall, you have to play Mackenzie Doniak and she comes and performs and then does well for a couple of games after. Like, that's what I'm excited to see is who's going to be stepping up in this matchup because San Diego Wave needs somebody to step up right now, or else this is going to be the remainder of this year. Even if the internationals come back, something that the team did last year very well is maintain a level that was good enough for them to be supplemented by the international players to get the shield. And I think it's a different feeling this time. I don't think it's necessarily the same in terms of what we saw last year where, the consistency seemed to be there. They're clicking, they're scoring. There's a lot of holes to patch up in San Diego Wave's play, but is it a matter of maybe this team plays up to the competition where it's sometimes played down to the competition where the players on the field, you look at them like, wow, they should be able to beat Angel City. They should be able to get a point here at least away. It's that just narrow factor of they need to just get over that, and maybe playing against a good team right now in form with Pride is a solution to that.
if I were to ask you guys, based on stats, right? San Diego Wave has the second best defense in the league. Would you guys agree? Because they're the second team.
Are they?
They're the second best defense based on goals. They allowed 9 goals in 10 games. Only better defense is Gotham right now.
I think it's okay to say no to that question because, right, this is a team that is built around defense.
Mm-hmm.
And right, I think it's 9 goals scored, 9 goals given up this year.
Yeah, with that, they're also the second worst offense.
So I don't know. Hey, why do you believe they're a top defensive team in this league?
I mean, it's pretty simple to me, just not letting in goals and being able to keep clean sheets. And I mean, even the few points they have gotten away this season have been because of their defense and being able to just wear teams down and not let them score. Like, that's all credit to Kennedy Wesley, Naomi Girma, Abby Dahlkemper. Like, they've been solid this year. And it's a little weird too, because like defense has to start. Like, Casey Stoney puts a lot of the offensive pressure on the defense of having to send those long balls and like start from the back, slowly but surely move it up. So maybe that's one of the issues you could say that the defense has. But other than that, I think defense has been amazing.
That's true. No, I feel like, to your point, I think the impatience that's probably building with some of the lack of scoring on the offensive side is making any defensive mistake monumental. Like, I'm just thinking of the goal that happened on the road where Kristen Westphal, like
Slipped.
basically, slips. But like some people are saying like, oh, she should have been playing, back more on the defender and she came too close and then had to go there. But I'm like, right, we're putting all these things under a magnifying glass, right? Because they're not scoring.
Yeah.
And it sort of reminds me of like a stretch. And I'm not trying to always compare this to Loyal, but like I remember Loyal like was 0-4-2 at one point in season 2, and like going through a stretch where like even if they scored one goal, it was like, oh my God, thank God. And right, they've sort of really felt the lack of ability, right? Because Mackenzie Doniak hasn't been able to play, and she was sort of in that groove of becoming this like reliable goal scorer for Wave, and then all of a sudden she goes out, and right, Alex Morgan's hurt, and Jaden Shaw's sort of fulfilling like different roles, and then you're trying to find pieces that play well with her. So I think for my mentality with this, and I'm curious to see what you guys think, but I'm totally okay with sort of the struggling that they're going through, because I'm going right, they really haven't been able to play the team that they have at all. So it's like they're still figuring out. I mean, at the Angel City game, I was watching Maria Sanchez and Jaden Shaw, like any break in the action, they're like talking to each other and basically like going over this whole like, how do you play? Or like, I see this, I'm going to do this. And it's like, you can tell they're like trying to figure out how to play well together. So like, I don't know where you guys are. And that's why I think why my concern level isn't that high yet in terms of this season. But like, I guess like, especially going into Friday, knowing that Orlando's clearly the best team in the league, like what are you looking for out of this matchup?
A tie. A tie is because, I mean, you're facing off against the best team. I am in kind of like going into panic mode for Wave, because this time around last season is when they had an international break. They went on that slump. They went on like a 9-game winless streak. So if that were to happen again to the start of the season that they're having, luckily last season they had a hot start, but now you don't have that. You don't have that luxury to go on a 9-game unbeaten streak. So I'm worried for San Diego Wave to the point where, okay, you're having a tough schedule coming up. You're starting off the international break coming back against the best team in the WSL. So you either set the tone and get the 3 points at home because you've made it known that at home you're a different team than on the road, or you kind of just go again on that slump and the international break just didn't help at all or anything. So I think a tie would help them out if they somehow pull off a win. Oh man, like hopefully that's the turnaround and the jumpstart that they've been needing.
Yeah, I think we need to see some good offensive play, because right now you have Orlando this week, and then you have Washington Spirit away and Gotham FC away, which is like about as tough of a schedule as you can have, especially coming off an international window. So if the offense is clicking, and I think we do see this a lot in a lot of teams where after an international window, that some of the players that aren't some of like the big marquee players that aren't international players are getting time to meld. It's a little bit more relaxing training environment usually. So maybe we'll see one of those players performing at a higher level. But yeah, they need to be performing well, because this 3-game stretch is brutal.
Yeah, and even right, Houston's a part of that 3-game road trip. And even Houston has been playing better than what they kind of started out this season. But Abe, I'm kind of curious, and I want to talk to you a little bit about Barbara Banda for Orlando. Right, because I think she alone has 8 goals this season.
Yeah, she's second on the scoring list behind Sophia Smith.
Yeah, and she's doing it like a multitude of different ways. Like she's scoring with like headers and crazy rebounds. She's just like out racing people to the ball and making moves. But I was talking to Kristen McNabb walking to training the other week, and I was just asking her, like, with somebody like that, like, how do you defend that? Is that a one-person assignment? Is that like the whole team aspect? And she goes, well, the thing about Banda that makes her really dangerous is usually players with her athleticism tend to not have like the technical ability that makes them like so well-rounded. And she's like, with her, she has technical ability, she has strength, she has athleticism. And she's like, so she is like one of the scariest players that has entered the league in her recent time. And I'm going like, knowing McNabb is seen a lot of players, I'm like, wow, that's pretty high praise. But like, if you're setting up the defense for Wave, like, is this a Naomi Girma assignment? Is this a all hands on deck assignment?
I think it's an all hands on deck assignment for sure. I mean, you hope Naomi Girma will be able to lock it down, but like with plays like Tony's showing right now, it's hard to stop her. Like I think I heard someone from Orlando say the other day that just like they're so glad that they don't have to play against her because she's just like so dominant and she's like a super quiet player too. Like she doesn't really like do anything crazy. She doesn't have crazy celebrations. Just does it cool with the teammates, super quiet, and then just like that's just that weird, scary dominance that I don't think this league was ready for because she could just take over games like that.
And is what we're seeing from Jaden Shaw. Like that's the factor with Jaden Shaw, where she has the technical aspect down. She has the mentality for being such a young player down, and she has the physical attributes to really be able to take advantage of all of those and put them together. That's what makes Jaden Shaw such a special person and such a special player, is that it's the full package, and they're able to really utilize the best of those, the arsenal of weaponry that they have at their disposal in the moments that they need. You know, Jaden Shaw knows exactly when to pass, knows when to really be that assist player, needs to be the complement to the extension of the play. Barbara Banda seems to be exactly that. It's just that perfect marriage of the technical ability and really having a nose for goal and being able to utilize it. Because again, what we see a lot of, and this is just just as an observer of getting to know the NWSL, the women's game throughout these last couple of years, is that there's a lot of the mental aspect is so advanced in the women's game, but there's things that obviously like you can tell like a player wants to do this, but their body just doesn't allow them to do it. They know they're supposed to be in that spot, but they can't necessarily react adequately. Either that's landing a pass, not putting too much power on a through ball, making the correct angled run, or just little details like that. But when you have a player like Banda come together, that's just a record, and that's why one of these players out of 11 can really be the determining factor and the difference maker in a squad. Like we talk about like basketball, right? Or like in those sports that don't have 11 players out there, one player is really going to change that game. But if you have somebody like this that only needs somebody else to bounce off of and set them up enough to either score or be there as a recipient to her fantastic idea and vision, then that's what makes a key player and one of the most elite in the league at this point.
I want to pose a kind of like a big picture question, all of y'all, because I've been watching more of different teams in the NWSL this year. So I've watched a lot of Orlando. I've watched a lot of Washington. And right, shocking, both are very exciting teams to watch offensively. And it just seems like they function so well together. They know what they're doing. They know how they're attacking. And they sort of, like for lack of better terms, like playing to the strengths of their players. Now, when I watch Wave, and given a lot of injuries and lineup differences, and they haven't really been able to put the whole kind of like kettle together yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like, are you waiting sort of to see like certain players on Wave like released to another player to be that Barbara Banda role, to be that Martha role? Or is it like, do you see Wave still figuring out like, hey, who's going to be the scorer? Who's going to be the setup? Or am I just kind of like, is it simpler than that? Is it more complex than that? I'm just kind of curious, since you guys see it and watch it from the press box, like what are you seeing from this team that maybe isn't working and is working?
I kind of want to say, when are we going to start putting some blame on Casey Stoney, right? For the crappy start that this team's having. So, I mean, at the end of the day, traditionally in soccer worldwide, you start asking questions like, okay, are the days counted for this coach if they're not playing to where they're supposed to be playing?
I think that with the new teams, they're both new head coaches. I think that definitely plays a huge factor as far as like Casey Stoney's played this same exact way every year in the league. Every team knows what's coming. Every team's like very prepared for how San Diego Wave soccer is played. And like when you have a new coach in Orlando and Washington, they're about to technically they don't have their Barca head coach yet, but
I was gonna say the Spirit thing took
Yeah.
me off guard, but sorry, continue.
yeah, no, but like they both have new coaches, and Casey Stoney took advantage of that when she came into the league. She was a new coach.
Mm.
That team, the expansion team, most successful expansion team that NWSL has had. So this is kind of, I think, just a little bit of a slap in the face. As like far as like every team's used to you now. The team's got to start changing, evolving. Like, yeah, like I think there should be some pressure on Casey Stoney to like evolve the play style in a way that's like, hey, this is kind of not working anymore. Teams are very ready for it, so you just something's gotta change
You
a
have
little
to
bit.
change things up as a coach.
Yeah.
You have to change it because I mean, you keep playing the same style, the same thing, hoping that it's going to change on its own. It's not going to. You eventually, if your 4-3-3 is not really doing anything, change it up a little bit. Start playing one defensive mid, add another attacking player. If you're struggling, it's in scoring goals. Start 2 number 9s. Start Caruza and Alex Morgan up top if both are healthy. So there's little things that Casey Stoney can change. It's just coaches are not very comfortable making those changes. But at the same time, I mean, I think it's necessary, especially, I mean, you're 4 games lost already in the season. Last season, you only had lost 7 games.
Look at Sanchez, right? Like this should be a superstar that makes an immediate impact, a little bit more than we have seen production-wise for San Diego Wave. And we see her be in positions where, yeah, she should have scored, especially against Angel City, where there was a couple chances that just are must scores, and that's on a personal, just Maria Sanchez level. But I think it's a lot of trying to fit Maria Sanchez into the play style of San Diego Wave, and it's exactly what you're talking about, right? Where you're seeing Orlando really look at what they have in terms of the players and rely and just say, you know what, the style is going to be whatever the players that I have dictate at the time. I don't know if Casey Stoney was necessarily ready to field Maria Sanchez at that point, where she kind of had a idea of what she was going to want to have with the team that was full of injuries at the time. And then you do throw that monkey wrench of having a really elite player like Sanchez. It's not necessarily going to be conducive to have the best chemistry right out the gate. It's going to take time. Also, I do think that at the beginning of the year, San Diego Wave was looking for a certain play style, and they were getting there, but then injuries did happen. And I hate to just do the excuse or the easy out of, well, injuries, right? But when it comes to a system that Stoney really implements and is she's a system coach, when you have part of that system break down, it's catastrophic, and it turns really. It takes a coach that's experienced in order to right that ship on the fly to go ahead and do that. We saw the growth of Casey Stoney from last year to this year, from the first year to last year, in terms of even just making substitutions at the right time and really being smart and not being outcoached at times. But I think this is the next level of the growth for the tactical positioning of San Diego Wave. Is what are you going to do? It's your watch MasterChef. When they're like the challenge, like you have, these great ingredients, but you have to use a 7-Eleven taquito in it. And it's like, well, you got to make a Michelin star meal out of it with what you have, and they'll do it. Does Casey Stoney have that ability to get this smorgasbord of ingredients and put them together and make something cohesive? So far, it hasn't paid dividends, but
You're almost halfway through the season.
but you're exactly. And
Do
when
you-
is
but do
panic
you-
button?
Do you give any credit to, because like, right, you could probably go out and find somebody to play, but they kind of played Maya Jones, a rookie.
Yeah.
And they sort of, right, like, and went through maybe some, like not any knock on Maya, but like growing pains of like her letting her figure out, like, right, this is a different league. And I was even talking to one of the backup keepers in terms of just like, and I was asking her about Maya Jones, and she's like, I have like seen a lot of collegiate players and like just seen my sense of NWSL players. And she's like, the pace that Maya Jones puts on a shot is the fastest I've ever seen. And she's like, she probably has like the most velocity on her shot. So like it's like the talent's there, but like, do you give any credit to Casey being like, hey, you know what? Like, we're going to rock with Kennedy Wesley and we're going to rock with Maya Jones. And right, like she could not play the rookies.
Yeah.
And she, there's veteran NWSL players on this club that haven't even gotten minutes yet. So like, we talk about the whole like San Diego thing and like not like poaching all-star stuff here, but like do you give any credit to that element? Because I know like Chivas said like, hey, are we gonna put the pressure on Casey Stoney? But like, do you give any credit that it's like, hey, we've tried to make it work with the players no matter what? Or is it like, hey, we gotta adapt a little bit quicker?
I think this is a good testing ground for it, right? Where you're really going to see where the team is at, because they're going to face a tough challenge with Orlando. They're going to go ahead and have a chance to show up and really shut mouths up of anybody who's been doubting Wave to this point. And Casey likes to do that. Like they'll have games that are landmark games throughout the season that you could point to and be like, okay, that was a turning point. And I think this is one of the last exits before there's a point of no return for the season. And if they can really get a good game out of this squad that they have actively against Pride, get a tie. And again, a tie would be at home, not necessarily the best optics wise, because as you mentioned, Shiva, this is a home team, a very strong home team. Then, I think it's a good first step into trying to build consistency, because that's the one thing that this team has been missing this entire time. There's been flashes of talent. There's been great goals. There's been some of the best San Diego Wave action and play and beautiful play styles and plays that we've seen in their history.
Very true.
But they need to get a string of consistent performances out of the squad.
I really do think something that this team needs to get out of. I mean, you won the Shield last season. You come into the season with the expectation, okay, now we win the Shield and we win the championship. You got to get that out of your head. There's no way you're winning the Shield anymore. As the sooner you realize that and you get over that, okay, we're 15 points behind Orlando Pride. Like, can we still win the Shield? Like, no, get over that. Try to make playoffs, and then from there make an impact. You can literally make it as eighth place. I mean, Gotham did it last season. They barely made the playoffs, and they came out as champions. So I think you really need to get over the, can we win the Shield anymore? Or like again this season? Like, no, you can't. You're 15 points behind halfway through the season. It's going to be very hard, especially when these other teams they're showing no signs of slowing down. So as soon as they get over that mindset of like, okay, let's just try to make playoffs. Let's play each game at a time. Focus on home games because, I mean, so far away games have just been a disaster. Yeah, I think that's something that they need to change. Yeah, something that needs to change. And I mean, again, if you manage to beat Pride, I can see that being the turnaround window and saying, okay, let's pick the shit up. Like, our players are coming back from injury. Hopefully they stay healthy and we can go on this 3 away game stretch and get some points out of this. So
I feel like Wave has rather enjoyed playing the underdog role, because when I feel like when they've sort of ascended to this, all the attention's on us. Not saying they, like, I wouldn't say they crumble, because they're always competitive in these matches. But when you lose 2 Western Conference Finals, 1 at home, I think people are going to be like, oh dang, we didn't meet the moment. And right, like, I think going in that first year, even in Portland against that Portland team, like, right, they went up 1-0. They had some chances to go up 2-0. Yeah. And then, I think everybody would have said, within even the sporting side at Wave was like severely disappointed at the Western Conference Final. But it seems like they'd rather play that role in the shadows. And I think right now, to your point, going into Friday, it's sort of playing the shadows. But I'm curious, Ray, what were you going to jump on?
I was just going to say, like, even beyond the Supporters Shield, there's 2 other trophies that are available this season as far as Liga MX Summer Cup, and then the CONCACAF one. I forget what that one's called. They have weird names. But, I mean, how much importance is Casey Stoney going to put on those things? Is she going to be rotating players during that time, or are we going to be seeing maybe more of an impact on those CONCACAF games? I mean, I think they have some of those matches are happening like right at the end of the season during this Wave season. So at a certain point, do you think about maybe like, well, season's a little bit whatever, but we could still win these trophies outside of the NWSL?
I was going to say that I was looking at the rounds, because the draw comes out, I believe, on Thursday for the Champions Cup. Yeah. CONCACAF Champions Cup is what they're calling it. But the round 4 happens midweek between, I think it's like September 28th and a game on the road in North Carolina, like October 8th. And then like round 5 happens around like the midweek of like the last week of the season. So you're right. Like, I'm curious. The other thing too, which is going to be interesting, is with this USL league growing and starting, I think you're going to see a lot of these players on NWSL teams that aren't playing leave to go to this league to play.
Yeah.
So the depth of these teams is going to be very interesting. You know, I know in the past for national team stuff and the World Cup, they did national team replacement players who some of them have had NWSL experience or, high level college experience or not. But or is it going to be, hey, Maya Jones, who might be, say, not playing as much with some of this internationals becoming healthy and playing again, is that person going to be, the person that shines in the Summer Cup, in this CONCACAF, Champions Cup? So to your point, Abe, but I'm curious too, how much emphasis is put on that, because I think the Champions Cup is to me, really cool, because I think the only other thing that's crazy is you could go to El Salvador and play the team from El Salvador midweek and then have to fly to North Carolina, and who knows what that basis of the second to last road match of the season is going to play. And then, or you might have to go to Costa Rica the last week of the season before you play a big time home game. So that, I feel like that, health, which has not been on their side
at all,
is going to have to be on their side. And then I think the only cool thing to me is this depth that's sort of already been tested. And, seeing the Sierra Engie playing and all that is I think there's a lot of value in they've been competitive. A lot of things haven't gone their way, especially on the road, which you said the road games have been a little wonky, but I think some of that is due to you don't have some of these tested veterans. And one note I'll have, Madison Bogarts was in town this last week because Utah's on break. And I was talking to her about her experience in Utah. And she goes, our coaching staff didn't really come from the NWSL. We don't have a lot of players with NWSL experience. She goes, I myself have been in the NWSL, but I haven't played too much in the NWSL. And she goes, that is such a key factor to success in this league. And to me, that's why I guess maybe I'm just drinking the Kool-Aid of optimism here, but that's where I go, I think there is going to be huge benefit to some of these players playing and having that Summer Cup coming up in July, return to Torero Stadium, which I'm pumped about. I might be the only one excited to go back to Torero Stadium, but I'm going to love that. And then I think seeing that draw on Thursday and seeing, hey, is Wave going to have to go out of the country for some of these CONCACAF Champions Cups, or are they going to be hosting a lot of these teams that they would, then not have to go out of the country? But I think all of this is going to be really fun to see play out over the summer.
I'm excited to go back to Torero too. As long as they have the same food, I'm going to be very excited.
Jesse Beltran, I'm just going to throw that on him.
Yeah, Jesse. Missed those little coupons.
I want to ask you guys, with this CONCACAF Champions Cup, right? Say Wave are just not doing good the rest of the season and they're on the verge of maybe not making playoffs. Maybe they do. They're out of playoffs. Say they have a chance to win. They're still okay, we need to play our best players to make playoffs, but then we have this CONCACAF Champions Cup semifinal coming up. How upset, or would you be upset if Casey Stoney says, "No, our priority is going to win this CONCACAF Champions Cup now because we probably have a better chance of winning this than even going into playoffs"?
Look at Dortmund, what they did this year. They put all of their energy to Champions League instead of winning their domestic title.
And they still didn't win it.
Yeah, that's true too.
That's very true. But at the end of the day, it's going to be down to what Casey Stoney wants to do.
So my question is it a failed season if they win the Champions Cup, but they don't win anything else?
No, because that's the second trophy of the season. It's the second piece of silverware.
I think there's layers to that, because if it is, say, a disappointing season, I'm wondering, is it disappointing because certain players you were relying on couldn't get healthy enough to make it and compete? Or is it, hey, we had all these pieces and they couldn't figure out how to make them fit, and that's why, because if you look on paper, this team probably shouldn't be in ninth place in this league. So I think I would need to know what that would be before answering that question.
Let me bring you into the soccer world real quick.
Yes.
Doesn't matter how shitty your team is playing in the season. If you win a trophy, it's a great season.
Yeah, I would say if they win the Champions Cup and they say get bounced in the first round of the playoffs or don't make the playoffs, I think it's still a win because I think this Champions Cup is one of the coolest things that I think this league has created because we haven't seen, right? I think there's 3 League MX teams as well.
Yeah.
It's America, Monterrey,
Monterrey.
and Tigres. Yep.
Monterrey,
Tigres.
Tigres,
Like
America.
I'm just like, how fun would it be for Wave to go play one of these teams there? Like all of this, right? I think there's a team in Vancouver too. Like,
Yeah, the Whitecaps.
I'm just hoping the 2 road matches that they have. I think there's potential for 3, but I would think they'd probably only have 2. I hope they're in cool areas that are outside of the country, and it's not us going to play Gotham or going to play Portland.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of the assignment now for San Diego Punto Football, Abe, Jiva, whoever, me. If next time we have Casey, or I'm going to reach out to see if we can do another check-in like we did and we had her on for an interview, just exactly where her priorities are going to land there. And really just kind of put her feet to the fire in terms of like, well, you know, what are you going to do? Like when this eventuality happens, are you going to take priority in the league? Because I believe that Casey still thinks that this team can get it together and win the championship. I wholeheartedly believe that. And they can. But then again, you throw in that extra just kind of international representation. Like this isn't necessarily like a one-off tournament. It seems like the basis of something that's solid, almost like the Women's Gold Cup. Like it's the beginnings of something that's really cool, that's going to be built and it's going to have a prestige as the years pass. But this is the first iteration. So do you really put all your chips in that into that bet? But we'll see. Yes.
So the point, 619 Soccer makes a good point. The actual championship of this doesn't happen, I think, until May of next year.
Yeah.
So I think the 5th round of the group stage happens in October, and then I think after that, so like they wouldn't like they could host a Summer Cup trophy. But to your point about the difference is that right, this CONCACAF Champions Cup is like, boom, this is legit, this is great, and I think to me the Summer Cup with Liga MX is more of like, for lack of better terms, like a time filler.
Yeah.
Right. And opportunities for those players that aren't going to international and the Olympics to still compete. And I really love that. So I don't want to diminish and say it's a time filler, but in context in comparison to Champions Cup, I think, right, 2 different levels.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, if you're Casey, I would think that your next goal is to win the championship because that's the one thing that she herself wasn't necessarily understanding of. And I think as time went on, she kind of realized that like, yeah, that is important. Like, yeah, we won the league, which is what her championship is, where she comes from in Europe, where you win the regular season, you win everything. But then there's this like, just interesting playoffs aspect to it.
Well, I mean, like even they didn't really celebrate the Shield.
They did not
that much. Like there was a little
play?
celebration on I mean, the size of the Shield was ridiculous as well.
$70 Dick's Sporting Goods Shield. Like,
I think the one that SDFC hands out at their
it's the same one.
futsal. I think it might be bigger, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I
No way.
I think that's maybe, like you talked about carryover. I don't know if there's any of that where it's like, yeah, we won the Shield, but right, like, right. For Casey, it was like, I remember that first question, I think right when they won the opening Challenge Cup this year, and there was a reporter that asked a question, and she's like, well, we won the league.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, and like the reporter's like, well, no, you didn't. Like Gotham won the championship. So I feel like, right, it does seem there's been not a devaluation, and I've never heard any of this from anybody at Wave, but I feel like the fan base is like, okay, well, yeah, it doesn't mean anything now to win the Shield because we want to win the championship.
And I will say this: there is no banner for the Shield at Snapdragon Stadium.
Ooh.
I don't know if that's a Snapdragon thing where they're not allowed to hang championship banners because it's not their facility technically, but like,
good point.
if it really matters, banners are what last, in my opinion, in sports. Like, those are what you always think about. Like, when you go to any arena, any sporting venue, like, you see those banners, and if you've never seen the team before, you're like, oh, this is a respectable team. They've won championships here, or they've won something here, but there's no banner. Like, until you're hoisting banners, like, then I don't think you can give it that much value.
I'm going to be mad when San Diego FC beats Cholos in the first friendly at Snapdragon, and the commemorative cup lives and has a shrine at Snapdragon, and Wave doesn't.
we've been talking about, and I know I talked to you guys about this in terms of talking about what we want to see from the game day experience, what we think the game day experience is going to be. And just having worked with Ricardo Campos at Loyal and seeing the way he basically built the experience at Torero for Loyal and everything, like this guy is a mad genius for playing on exactly what Abe just said and what you just said, where the immersive visual that's going to be banners, that's going to be anything, pageantry, whatever you want to call it. I think SDFC is going to nail every square inch of that stadium and really make it feel kind of almost close to, like, I'll give Legion shout out because they pay a lot of money to put that second level banner across. Like, I know that costs a lot of money. That's like $75,000 just to make those banners.
Shit.
And then you got to pay people to install them and take them down and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But to your point, Abe, and I think that is phenomenal question that I would love to find an answer to. And I don't know if you could ask Justine at San Diego Wave, but I'd be curious, why they didn't want to make a banner, because I would think you could hang that somewhere. And I agree. Like, I know this being a baseball guy, and you know, there's words of like, hey, right, the Yankees don't hang wild card banners. They hang, you know, like they hang whatever. But like for a Brewers fan who had to live off of never winning a World Series, like they would put
the pennants.
They would put like division championship banners up. And, you know, like we see this and it's like, what is important to your, and I don't think there's anything against Wave. If the shield's not that important, I mean, maybe, you are reaffirming like by not putting a banner up. But because I think, right, like I know Gotham unveiled the banner for winning the championship.
They had it. They had it.
I think Portland has, I don't know if they have banners, but they have one that says the years that they won on it.
The shield?
Yeah, I think the shield. Because I remember seeing one with the shield and then one with the actual championship.
I think you're right, because they've won the shield. They won the shield, what, like 3 years in a row at one point?
Yeah.
Or 4 years? One of the two.
Yeah, so they don't have like a bunch of banners, but they have like that one with all the years they've won it, kind of like high school style. Or I think the Lakers did it too this year, which like kind of shows like, that in-season tournament doesn't really matter. They just have like,
but they did a banner unveiling. Yeah, I mean, I think that would have been great for the fan base, because I think what you can't underestimate is even in year 3, you're still a baby in growing this fan base and doing things to really rally everybody together. And that's the one thing that I feel like has sort of felt disconnected a little bit, right? Like there used to be this lap that the team had and would go around and like interaction with them and the Sirens. And I was going to actually ask this with the Sirens, but like I was talking with another photographer about this, and it's like there hasn't been that, and I don't know if that's due to some players that usually are leading that not playing and not dressing. You know, but like I would love and I know like losses feel like crap and it's terrible feeling, but like still got to show love to the people that are paying the money, that are, you know, especially the supporter group, and knowing that the supporter group is still growing as we're hearing, and like how hard it is to grow those numbers and the effort, the blood, sweat, and tears. And it's like just the little acknowledgement from the club. And I think that's where I go, man, San Diego Loyal perfected this again. Ricardo Campos,
absolutely
being a master of this. And I know SDFC, no matter win, lose, or draw, is going to have a ritual with that club where they do something with that supporter section every match, and then and then it kind of leads to the whole stadium being there, right? San Diego, we are. And that was that, right? I remember in the beginning, that was just with the supporter group. And then as it grew, that was a whole stadium doing that. And I think this is something that I would say to Weston Bray. And I know Weston would probably love to do this. But this is something that I would also just say, like, to San Diego Wave, is like, I would love to see more of that kind of commitment to unity with the fan base, no matter win, lose, or draw at home, because I think it just has a monumental effect on growing the fan base and also just making the fans feel like they matter. And I think that's, you know, we talk about if this season goes not according to plan, and I think there's a lot of factors, right, with SDFC coming in and worrying about if that's going to take away from the fan base. I don't think I'm as worried with that, but I just think, hey, we're still in year 3, we're still growing, and like don't lose that sense of connection or pageantry
Yeah.
of celebrating those little wins, such as winning a shield, even if
The
they win
Challenge
Cup,
even if they win the Summer Cup, make a freaking banner and
It's a trophy.
and just say, hey,
Mhm.
hey, we're a club that stands for winning.
We
and
won the first
right,
ever.
yeah, we won the Shield, we won the first ever Challenge Cup, whatever it was called now.
Mhm.
We won the Summer Cup. I think
That's 2 trophies this season.
Yeah, at least.
Technically.
Yeah, no, and again, like I think this will add to the ownership of the successes, but also ownership of the losses, because you really cherish what you have won. You really value what's there, and I hope that the answer isn't just, well, there nobody really thought about that. It was more like, well, Casey vetoed it. Like she herself was like, nope, it's not. You guys are saying it's not the championship. All right, sounds good. It's not the championship, so nobody celebrate. But it might be an oversight. Abe, you're on it.
Figure it out. I'll talk to my Snapdragon sources.
I love that. But to Jeremy's point, I don't think SDSU will block any banners going up. I think the only thing with that is, you see it with Wave on where it kind of over goes the Bashor Field. Is that how they say
yeah,
it?
Basherfield.
So they, what
the
Wave
landing.
does is they just replicate that text on their banners. So,
Mhm.
they don't block that and it stays. So I think if you keep the integrity of, some of the things, like I know like Cox is a huge sponsor and where the players walk out. So like you can't cover that. But
Yeah.
I think in terms of hanging banners, they would have no problem with
No,
that.
100%. Like there's a way to make it seem like it's your stadium, even though it's not. But there's a way to make it seem like it's your stadium, and I think that's going to be the task for the great Ricardo Campos and company down at SDFC.
And that's the thing where like you think of other stadiums around the world for like top club like Real Madrid, like Barcelona, like you go to Camp Nou, Santiago Bernabeu. If you go, they have like their trophy cabinets that you can walk through when you go to the stadium. They have like this room of all the history of the club. And I mean, you don't really have that at least anywhere really in the US when it comes to soccer, unless they really do have their own stadium.
Yeah.
And that's going to be hard to do.
You know what I just thought of? And you gave me this idea, so thank you.
You're
But
welcome.
minor league baseball, the big thing was if your parent club won the World Series, right, you do a replica ring.
Yeah.
And so like all these then major league teams started doing replica rings, and then I think NBA teams started doing it. So you're right. If the shield mattered, I would be like, and this is me just throwing it out there. If like I hypothetically was in the marketing team at Wave, I'd have been like, why don't we give out a mini shield at our first home match?
Yeah.
Right. Like, and I know there's a lot of factors on like now, maybe Sporting saying, hey, we really don't want to like carry that theme into this year. But I think, again, we're just talking about celebrating moments that you earned. And I think you have to look at beyond yourself or the, like, oh, are we carrying this in? And just like, you got to think of the fans, and the fans want to celebrate winning. And like the fans want to brag for you and give them little things like that to brag, do the ceremony right before the first, kick of the first home match. And then guess what? That washes away. You did it. You gave, and I think it just adds to the community aspect of bringing people together. And then, right, like you have this little thing that, hey, if I'm like a super fan, I might put this on my desk at work.
Yeah.
And then somebody else asks that, has ever been to a Wave game? And they go, what's that? And it's like, well, it's San Diego Wave. Because I will say, I wear a lot of San Diego Wave gear around town, and I still get a lot of people being like, who is that?
What's that?
And that's no discredit to anybody in the branding, because that would happen at Loyal all the time too. And you're like, and some people would be like, oh my God, I can't believe they don't know. Yeah, but it's like,
soccer team in San Diego.
I think it just goes to never feel that you've arrived. And I think from a branding, marketing, celebrating win standpoints, you got to take them, because they don't come very easily.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about being in 9th place and worried about if this season's not going to go according to plan. And being in the Western Conference final feels like a distant memory now.
100%. I really think that's something that was celebrated more, actually, was winning the best uniform of this offseason or the season.
Yes.
More than the Challenge Cup win itself. They gave out shield pins to season ticket members as a match giveaway as well for the first X amount of fans. They are actually nice.
I did forget about that.
Yeah. That's great. But like,
I would sell like a little mini shield.
Didn't they give out patches too? I feel like there was patches on jerseys too. I might have imagined that, but
yeah, you imagined it, bro. No. But
no, Abe, you
again,
never collect the giveaways.
I don't know. I won't be bought.
No, you're
Also,
not.
another thing I was thinking
Yeah.
about, there's a statue outside of Snapdragon Stadium. Do you think there could ever be a statue for a San Diego FC or San Diego Wave player outside?
no.
Why not?
Really?
SDSU owns it.
Yeah. And like, why would they? Why
Unless Joe Corona somehow goes to SDFC and wins a championship with
as a native
SDSU alumni, Joe Corona wins San Diego's MLS first championship ever. Oh, build a statue for that guy.
I think what I could see happening, and I've seen this at other stadiums where, there's sort of like a plaquish area where they have, nods to
the
historical
Yeah.
people over the years. So maybe there's one that grows that has like an SDFC part that has a Wave part. But I feel like when you're Wave and you're a tenant, and it's like technically they're right. Their lease is up after 2025 or something, which obviously they'll probably renew. But yeah, I think that's probably the limiting factor. So I don't want you guys to be right. That's why I push back.
No, 100%. I mean, I hope I'm wrong too. I hope there's a statue of whoever wins the first major championship outside. What are you thinking, Abe?
There's already an Alex Morgan statue that they just have hidden away. U.S. Soccer has. I don't know if you guys remember the statue right before the World Cup.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Why not just put that statue outside of Snapdragon Stadium? Like, that'd be a funny thing to see out, like, driving past it from the 805. Just like, oh, is that Alex Morgan right there? Is that the Statue of Liberty? Like, look, yeah, that would be.
That's unreal. Like, that's a bit much.
Right before the World Cup, too, not after the World Cup, like before.
Like, you gotta win the championship, not just the shield to have the trophy being held up.
That's true.
It's ridiculous. All right. San Diego Wave play this Friday against Orlando Pride. I mean, do we think they're going to win? Does anybody think they're going to win? Hope is different, but think they're going to win?
I don't think they're gonna win. I think they lose 3-1.
Oh,
I hope I'm wrong.
I will say I haven't really thought about the win or loss. I'm partial just because I think Barbara Banda is the most exciting player to watch in the league right now, outside of maybe Croy Bethune from Washington Spirit, the rookie. So I'm almost just super pumped to see her play. And I think I'd love seeing the best go up against the best. And that's why I was talking about, just any time that I'm going to see Germa and her battling, because I think watching Banda against some bigger center backs in this league, she still dominates them and almost draws yellow cards just from her ability just to control them with her physical power. So that's probably something as a photographer too that I'm just going to be interested in watching. But I think, my girlfriend sent me this video. I think it was some club overseas and their team hadn't scored in a while. So they all made like little arrows and they were pointing to the goal and like moving with the ball. And she was telling me, she's like, I think the Sirens need to do this for Wave. And I was like, ouch. Also, that would probably never happen here. But I think I just want to see. I want to see the offense just a little bit in more of a groove than we haven't been able to really see it. Whether that's Alex Morgan getting back into a scoring groove, whether that's Jane Shaw, whether hopefully Mackenzie Doniak is back, or whether that's just somebody new kind of joining the scoring party. Because I think the one thing that I really am impressed by with Kansas City this year, and they've already, I think, set the NWSL record, right? It's 14 different goal scorers on their team, which if I remember hearing Casey talk about this in year one when Alex was scoring, she goes, I would rather have everybody on our team score, right? Paraphrasing, but everybody on our team score rather than just one player dominating the scoring. So I'm going, man, like, that's the style that Casey Stoney wants. And so I just want to see other contributors from the scoring perspective. So I think, to me, the benefit is hopefully not win or loss, but just seeing Wave be threat offensively in this game, I think would be a victory for me.
I agree.
Moral wins.
Yeah, I disagree. I'm tired of moral wins. You have to get results. I'm sorry.
True.
That's
okay.
You have to get results.
I'm all for differing opinions.
And,
so
and
I
I'm
like
just
that.
talking. I'm just speaking from experience from being a Chivas fan, where it's like, oh, see, like we're playing good, we're getting better, but we still lose.
There's
So-
a Mexican national team saying that it goes through and through.
Yes.
It's jugaron como nunca, pero perdieron como siempre. They played like they've never played before, but they lost like they always lose.
What a line! What a line!
And that's a Mexican national team saying.
It's a truth. It's a I think Mexican Confucius said that. But it's their darn truth to all of this. But yeah, it's
Chivas is fed up, but I don't blame him.
I mean, you gotta get results. I'm sorry, 3 wins in 10 games. That's ridiculous.
Abe agrees.
Yeah, I agree with Chiva. I think Wave lose 1-0, maybe 2-0. Yeah, like they're playing at altitude, the U.S. Women's National Team, and your top goal scorers, Alex Morgan, or your top forwards, Alex Morgan, Jaden Shaw, Naomi Girma, they were playing at altitude in Denver. Like, that's kind of real. And then they're gonna out. I think Emma Hayes kind of said that she kind of hinted that Alex Morgan was gonna play in this Tuesday match. So how many minutes?
Didn't play at all.
Yeah, she didn't play at all, so she's gonna probably get a few minutes at least in this Tuesday match. Jaden Shaw didn't play either, so you expect Jaden Shaw to probably get some minutes.
No?
I think Jaden Shaw subbed in around the 61st.
Yeah.
My bad.
But I mean, again, you can't rely on one player, and I think the system needs to be revamped or just restarted somehow. And again, this is the first step, and my optimism leads to a tie, a 1-1 tie. Like that would be a net positive, I believe. Even if it's a game where it's like, oh man, Wave could have won, they could have had it, and they don't.
You're being too nice.
No,
Man,
because that's still a positive. That's still moving in the right direction. I feel, especially against a challenge like this. If you lose and you outright get outplayed, then it's also going to be, even then, it's a net positive because you can identify like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe this is going to be how the rest of the season is going to go. Maybe this is the true San Diego Wave at this stage, and it's not going to get any better because again, you can put different components onto your different modules onto this team. But at the end of the day, the core is still the core. But I'm really hoping to see some better San Diego Wave play. If it's a tie, so be it. I think that's a net positive against a team like Orlando.
Can you do me a favor real quick and pull up the Wave schedule? Because outside of they play June 7th. Then they go on that long
Washington
10-day road trip where they're not coming back home. So they're staying out on the road the entire stretch for this 3 games. And then they come back and play June 28th, which, correct me if I'm wrong, will be the last game before the international break.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then they don't come back home full strength with the internationals until August 24th.
Correct.
Which to me, I'm like, to your point too, and seeing results. I know I think we talked about this last time. Like, is this a must-win home game? But I'm like, knowing you don't have really a lot of home games for the next 3 months, I'm going, yeah, right. Leaving great memories in the minds of the fans and everything. And I would hear Landon Donovan talk about this to Loyal a lot. And it's like, we don't want to leave our fans with that bad memory.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that there's been some sour moments on the road, it's like, yeah, we need to start put some good memories in these fans. And, I think a statement win would be beating this Pride team and sort of, I think, give the confidence to the players. And I think give the confidence to that coaching staff, even if that's players to coaching staff, and
Mm-hmm.
going, okay, we had the plan, we executed. Now we can go on this road trip. And it's, shoot, that's going to be good test. I mean, the Gotham and San Diego played pretty close this year. I think right. But if you told me Orlando and Washington if we could win one and draw one,
yeah,
that's huge.
That's big, and that's big. And again, that's enough to really carry that hope into like, okay, maybe all hope for the season isn't lost. Again, Supporter Shield I think is out the window this season. So
yeah,
it's. I'm gonna still believe.
And I think they do play right at Snapdragon. I think they still play during the Summer Cup at Snapdragon.
They do.
So
they
have
Club,
a home
Club
game
America.
there, yeah. So I mean,
but no, I would say like as a
regular season
full
match,
team
yeah.
with internationals.
Yeah.
There, yeah.
Yeah. And you guys got them thinking away matches are cursed. Like, no more watch parties. Like, if they lose this home match, and now Sirens aren't going to want to go to these watch parties because you guys said they're cursed. Like,
I
listening
mean,
parties.
I will say I was there for, the Seattle watch party at Fair Play, and just I had the sense, and maybe I was the curse because I was like, even when they went up 1-0, and I was like, I just know Seattle, they're gonna muck this game up, they're gonna come back, they're gonna tie it, and then they tied it, and I was like, and they like I told some Sirens, and they all looked at me when Seattle scored, and they're like, Ryan, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but there have been. I don't know what the answer is on some of those road games, but I think there is going to be fear if the Orlando game doesn't go that well on on Friday. I think and knowing that you have to go up against Washington, and to me, Washington has probably the two best rookies in the league on their team that are going to be, and then you got Trini Rodman, you have Sarr, who's another dynamic player up top. I feel like they're just like a team that's sort of like I remember like when Phoenix Rising was at their peak, and you're like, they're just going to come at us, and they're going to score four goals, and they don't give up. They don't care if they give up 2.
Yeah.
But they're going to score 4 goals. So I think the fear is going to be, hey, if we don't see some offensive output on Friday, oh my God, are we going to see it against Washington? So I think there's, to your point, Shiva, maybe I'm starting to come around on you a little bit. Maybe I'm going to start coming on this side of the table.
Results matter.
But they do.
That's how you get the moral up. You win games.
Yeah. But I think this is what the cool part is about this moment right now with San Diego Wave is like everything's sort of been like good. And now they're at a point where they're kind of like, we're at this point where we're talking about it like this. And we're going, oh my God. And I think this is a cool part about year 3. And I hope that it just obviously goes in an upward trajectory. But it's cool that we're talking about this and this invested in this season at this point.
Yeah, there's an area of growth, and we can be critical about it. It's not just all like, oh my God, it's great, they're doing fantastic, they're an expansion team. Alex Morgan scoring goals after goals, the penalties, but they're goals after goals. Second season, they won, they made it again. It's an expansion team, so great, fantastic. The league is getting better. The league is just doing really.
The league is getting a lot.
It's getting a lot better, so that has a lot to do with it. But I think the team that San Diego Wave has put together is enough to win at least one more trophy. Where that's going to be throughout the season is yet to be seen. We'll definitely ask Casey.
You said
Stoney
they
for that.
weren't done signing players, man. What happened to that?
Yeah, Abe, what happened to that?
What happened to that? Abe?
Yeah, Abe.
Why'd you put that on?
I
I never said they were signing new players. Like I think
Yeah,
they
Abe.
could still do an international player. That's still in the
There you go
cards.
again.
August 1st, international window opens, right?
Yeah,
There's still time. There's still time.
yeah.
There is some rumors from a lot of overseas players coming to the NWSL, so maybe there is. I mean, right? I think the hope with that it would be an attacking or
Yes.
attacking mid or
official.
something.
No.
Leave
her at
On
leave
like
her at
5
Chelsea.
months of ACL recovery.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
She need a wheelchair, dude.
She's,
I would-
sources have
Yeah.
told me that she is doing better and is ready to get back out
To
there.
be fair, I would love me official on San Diego Wave.
100%.
Yeah.
That intensity
Yeah.
is great.
How about
all right.
Kat Macario? I mean, she was pretty awesome.
Macario? Yeah.
would be dope.
She was. I mean, another San Diego person. Like she might take Jaden Shaw's job on that national team. Like that was really dominant.
Yeah. No, and what she has history too with Emma Hayes.
Yeah, Chelsea.
Yeah. Yeah. So boom.
Boom.
like that.
Oh man, Jaden Shaw's done. Damn it, guys. We
It's
just
over, guys.
ruined her
The dream is
career.
done.
But it's a
Um,
San Diego player doing it. So
Yeah.
San Diego native
Yeah.
doing
Yeah,
it.
100%. I like
And a
that.
Chelsea player.
And a Chelsea player, former Chelsea. I like that. The only former Chelsea has been a goalkeeper. She retired. Carly Telford.
Telford.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Still miss her.
still unretired to some sources. Who I think this season she was put on a roster somewhere, and she was like, "I didn't know I was unretired." Perfect. All right. Anything else for San Diego Wave, gentlemen?
No.
You?
No.
No. All right. Well, again, it's a very interesting place where we can be critical because there is something happening on the soccer side of things, and that's something that can definitely be highlighted and talked about in this way. So I really like that people are engaged with it because it's really kind of that back and forth where you're not just talking to the universe. There's good information here, guys. Take a listen. But with that, anything else? We said nothing for Wave. Be there Friday. We will all be there. Happy birthday to Ryan. If you see Ryan out there, say happy birthday. Cove, Ryan, Sirens, happy birthday chant at some point for Ryan.
It doesn't have to be that deep. No.
Oh
No, but that's
the whole
what has to
stadium
happen.
better sing happy birthday.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like they're just gonna start joining happy birthday, not knowing for who. We will
They'll
be
do it.
singing from the press box.
We will.
We will stand and applaud for an uncomfortable amount of time for your to celebrate your birth 26 years ago.
Around there and be like all the 4 people.
Just save me one of those brownies up in the press box. I'll come grab it at halftime.
Hey man, look, again, I'm not eating. If you guys want, just let me know. I will get a plate and just set it aside for whatever.
Whatever he wouldn't do seconds at the games before.
I will say
former
since Esteban commented, some of my favorite memories. Like I love getting there early. I'll walk over, and sometimes when Esteban will just be there by himself in the cove, and he's just like, he has very like a model-esque just look, and he'll just have the shades on. And he'll just kind of like be in his own world, but he'll just be there by himself early, and I just love that.
He takes it all in.
Yeah,
he's a soccer guy through and through. Shout out Exquisite Football.
We're talking favorite memories at Snapdragon. My favorite memory at Snapdragon is just Tony getting another plate of food, and then Abe or Johnny Richardson actually looks at him like,
yeah, it was the most judgmental look I've ever gotten from somebody who's shaped like 3 brooms put together.
Shout out to Johnny building homes.
You mean
in
the
Mexico.
future Mark Ziegler?
That's
what I call him.
The future Mark Ziegler.
Shout out to Johnny building homes in Mexico.
Absolutely, he did that.
He did that.
It's insane.
Yeah,
thank you for helping my people. It's crazy that he built those houses against those people's wills. It's insane. Like he just pinned down a village.
You suck.
Oh my god.
Bulldozer former home, and it was like, hey, we're building you a house. Pero mi casa, my house, all my stuff was in there. Well, shout out to the soccer community. Shout out Esteban. Great little village that we have here. Abe, I'm gonna put you away for a little bit.
Wait, one thing. I had something to say about Chucky Lozano.
This is what I'm saying. Like when he was across from me, he had that gall.
Yeah, you could have put him away.
That zeal. I mean, I could have kicked him out. But it's okay. Yes, Abe. Sorry.
I do not agree with Chiva. I don't think he's going to be a top 5 MLS player. I think he's beyond that place in his career. Like I don't top 10 maybe, but MLS is that good that I don't know if he can just jump in and be a top 10 player.
Dave is also one of those Mexicans that roots for the U.S. men's national.
No, I'm not. Okay, I will say that some of my love for the Mexican national team kind of dissipated with the just proliferation of the homophobic chants. But in Oregon, when I was there during the World Cup, I was like freaking out watching those World Cup games. I was like, I had to go to a class early just because I could didn't want to miss it. And like some person walked in on me watching it, and it was when during that penalty when they stopped what's it called? Ochoa made another save, obviously, and it was just like, what? And like I literally like slammed the table and went like, holy I think I cursed. And
against Robert Lewandowski.
Yeah, it was Lewandowski. So I was just like, oh, like what the? And like I woke this girl up because it was like 9 a.m. So she was just like there, and I was like, I freaking slammed the table. And
you didn't miss class to watch the game? Interesting.
True fan.
People call out at work.
Hey, all these kids can multitask nowadays.
Yeah, dude, I had that on my laptop when class started. I was in the side of the class away from the professor, still watching it. But yeah, he's good, but there's a reason why he's not on the Mexican national team anymore. Like MLS is a solid. It's a good league.
No,
like
Liga MX owns MLS, so.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if Lozano was still good enough, he'd still be playing in Europe, right? Like
100%. Yeah, it's a money move.
It's a money move, but
he's still talented enough to destroy the MLS.
Destroy is such a strong word, dude. I don't think he's gonna destroy the MLS. Like he'll be good. Destroy, like Messi's gonna destroy the MLS. Like Messi destroyed the MLS. Like he won't destroy the MLS.
Yeah, no,
like we'll have this bet next season. Like if he's in the top 5 Golden Boot
Oh no, he won't
Um,
do that. I told you this. He's not a goal scorer. He's not a stats guy, but he makes an impact on the field.
Okay, top
So,
5
yeah,
so
MVP
you're saying
voting.
like
How
a-
about that?
Like hockey assist guy.
I don't know what's a hockey assist.
He's like like the person that gets it to the person that assists.
A pass to assist.
Right, like-
Gotcha.
No, I laugh because it's literally what it is. Like
Hockey
it's
assist.
not, it
Gotcha.
just put hockey in front of it.
But that like, are you guys like Abe Chiva here? Like to hammer this down, are you expecting him to be like how many goals score, or are you saying he's going to have more assists and goals for San Diego FC next year?
Oof. Down.
He'll have more assists than goals. I think in like these FC Nordstrom players are gonna be the ones that they want to have those goals. But
Mhm.
like
Well, that's the thing, right? Like you see, like Ricky Puig with LA Galaxy, he's a very like significant player and makes an impact, but he's not the biggest stat guy in the team.
Mhm.
So I feel like that's what Chucky's gonna do. Like there are players that are very crucial to your team and that are the best players in your team, but they're just not the guys scoring the goals or scoring the assists. They're the ones doing the passes. Like think of like Toni Kroos with Real Madrid. Like he's not the biggest stat guy, but man, what a legendary player he was. I think Chucky Lozano can be that for SDFC.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like that Chiva role with 2 balls at the mic. Like, he's not necessarily a stat person, but at the end of the day, like he's a crucial part of the thing.
At the end of the day, I got to prove to Copa America before this guy. So
You
You
did
know?
because your picture was
You know?
better.
So-
Your picture was better.
fucking there you go.
Your picture
So,
was better. I don't feel comfortable asking for my
I have-
passport.
I have receipts of him telling me sad faces saying, I don't think I'm getting it.
Which is fine because you weren't getting in either. How are you getting there?
hey,
Amtrak?
Amtrak.
Okay. Well, hopefully you're not driving the Amtrak. It's not gonna get there.
Yeah.
Gonna have a Glendale situation. Very deep cut. A derailment of a train a couple years ago. I think 2009. It was.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, this is what it is.
well, Chucky Lozano to SDFC. It's gonna happen. I think people are excited for it, and I think overall, it's gonna be something that's gonna be good for San Diego
Hey,
sports
Chucky
in general.
Lozano.
Built-in chance, built-in marketing, built-in everything. Just a package ready to go, right? It's like a Costco thing. Like you buy it and it's ready to go out of the box. Like you have all the components and it just works. It just
I like
works.
that. I like that.
I've been spending a lot of time at Costco's, and it's infuriating how different Costco's have different prices depending on the demographics. Yes,
Mm.
and they have very different stuff at some of them. Where I'm like, why isn't this at every Costco? And I have to go Costco hunting.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
what's the best Costco in San Diego?
best Costco in San Diego. I haven't necessarily explored the Santee one, which is where I'm going to be for a lot
Gateway
of time
Drive.
now.
Gateway.
Gateway
The San Marcos one. is
Gateway
pretty
Drive
legit.
is actually very controversial in my eyes because that's my girl's family's local Costco. But I hate the setup of it. The
Dude, the San Marcos one
the
has the
lovely-
food court inside.
the lovely community that habitates that area is not my favorite type of Costco shopper.
Yeah,
What
I
else is
agree with
supposed
that.
to? Okay.
Yeah, no, I need my
So,
Costco
like- so, like,
experience to be
ghetto or what?
positive. Oh, like, I mean, but here's the thing: I like the Chula Vista one, the ghetto Chula Vista one, where somebody
the
was
one by my
shot.
house?
Yeah, the one somebody was shot in the parking lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%, and shot and killed.
Well, I mean, okay, but there's a story behind that. But
Well, okay, yeah, but that story ends with somebody got shot and killed outside of Costco. So,
it's a good cost.
positive thoughts. La Jolla.
Okay,
Okay, Esteban. We're you know what?
Oh,
take
La-
us
La Jolla.
take us through. Okay, take us La
Does
Jolla.
my gold membership card get me into the La Jolla one, or do I have to be?
You know what the gold membership gets you into? A Mexican Costco.
That's all I want.
A Mexican Costco that they have there's different things. I don't know if you've ever seen just like the different food court items across the world, but in Mexico, like you can go ahead and do that.
what is it? What are the food?
Look at that. Are you at Costco Mexico? There you go.
Oh.
Costco Mexico. And
Just because
costs-
it's cheaper to get the
it
membership.
costs
but
$30
what-
to get
and
the
it works
membership.
over here. Yeah, it's $30
Yeah.
bucks.
And you can use it over here too. But you can't renew your existing American membership over there.
Yeah,
You have
yeah.
to get a brand new one. So Costco Insights. I like the Eastlake one, the one by
Yeah,
our
the
work.
one
It's
Eastlake
nice
one.
and clean.
Again, the San Marcos one, I hated it because they had the food court inside.
Like you know what?
Oh.
You know what that is?
Very
That-
Midwest to them.
no, that's very Sam's Club. Ugh.
Gosh.
I only got their membership because it was like $1 for their whatever anniversary. And last year during around Memorial Day, I went there once and I regretted ever being in that store. It's a bigger Walmart. I get it. The Hoya one is massive. You know what? I'm gonna go. Yeah,
We're going to go to
the
La Jolla
flex.
Cosco. Just
Yeah.
field trip.
I like that.
Do a
Just the-
podcast from there.
Yeah, 100%. Just put a little
From the
thing in
Chula
cart.
Vista one.
I don't want to get shot.
Costco reviews. Chula Vista has 2 Costcos. That's how cool it is. No, I don't like Gateway.
Fastest growing city in America, right?
And it's been for a couple years, for a
Yeah.
couple decades. Fuck off.
Been living in Chula Vista for 17
It's
years.
National City's landlocked. All
Otay
right?
Ranch, baby.
Hell yeah! Look at that. It's Chula Vista.
Otay Ranch. Gosh.
There you go. National City has.
East Lake.
National
Oh.
City's gonna have 2 In-N-Outs. It's gonna have a Dutch Bros.
That's pretty cool.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know,
pretty cool.
because it's National City. The Honorable Ron Morrison, Mayor Ron Morrison, is the one that's bringing back that city in an economic way. Might be a wife beater, but you know what? It's okay. It's not okay at all whatsoever.
Dutch Bros is overrated.
I had tried Dutch Bros for the first time.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Last
Yeah,
month.
Abe,
And maybe
yeah,
it's just the
put you
coffee
away,
I got, but
homie.
I didn't like it.
like it was like
You go there
I-
for the caffeine surge. That's all it is.
Yeah, and they have great sugar-free options.
Abe, I guess you need the caffeine, when you reach a certain age.
I'm sorry. What do you prefer, Abe? Starbucks, Pacific
No.
Northwest.
no, they love Dutch Bros in Oregon, but I tried it a few times and I was like, guys, I
better
don't get
buzz.
it. Like,
Relax. I don't need avocado toast with my coffee.
You don't have to buy the avocado.
You almost do though. Like that's because
No,
that's
you
their
don't.
selling
That's
point.
just expensive.
The best drink ever. Okay, it's not. I'm sorry. Like that's a lie.
I don't
That-
like
should
it.
I should be able to
I get
sue.
other shit.
I should be able to sue. You know what I do miss though, which is great coffee. Seattle's best coffee inside of a Borders bookstore.
Ooh, yes.
Oh,
Okay.
That's a shout. And
That's a throwback.
That's
I like that.
sit down and be next and I guess that's technically stealing if you read the book.
My dad is very big on coffee bean. I don't know
Very
why.
sugary.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why.
Wait,
He
I'll
just joined your
toss
club.
out my place.
Slice. Hey, hola, ¿qué
Um,
tal? Soy Rian.
the coffee drop in Golden Hill.
Coffee drop sounds bougie. It sounds very
It's not very bougie. It's a couple
Mhm.
gave up their corporate jobs and literally operated a coffee cart outside of Golden Hill Liquor,
oh
and then got so popular that they opened up their own brick and mortar.
heck yeah.
So it's
Love
only
that
them
story.
two, and they got a third employee, and so they have a coffee cart, I think, again on Adams Avenue. But
Oh.
really, really fun people.
I want
Like
to try
the-
that coffee that came in at work. The pots.
Black Rifle Coffee,
Yeah.
the Joe Rogan
Oh,
coffee.
Don't.
You're,
And
you're a
from-
veteran. Yeah.
Coming from a veteran, like Black Rifle coffee is atrocious.
Oh, okay, never mind. Then I'm not gonna try.
I mean, you
like
should, for
when they
America.
first started, they were good and pure, and now they jumped on like it's like drinking a Monster coffee now.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah.
speaking, you know who has coffee now? Jackie has coffee now. We got to buy some of her coffee.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
shout out Women Kick Balls. Jackie Gutierrez.
it's a roastery, I think, in Stockton, California, that produces the beans for
That's crazy.
her blend. I think they just went live recently too in terms of selling.
Does she have coffee pots?
I have it. Jesus Christ. Yeah, coffee that grows the game. I believe is the name. Your source of
New
soccer
Day?
news and coffee. New Day?
Do you know that reference?
No, he does
No, I
not.
don't.
He does not. No clue. No clue.
New Day, yes,
Um,
it is.
Yeah, 17 to 21 cups of coffee, depending on how addicted you are to the stuff. Just follow we're at womenkickballs.co for additional updates. Order now. We'll take care of this here in a little bit. Oh, there's little pouches. That's cool. I actually really like that. Support it. Or Coque Vega's favorite, Spill the Beans. I go to Spill the Beans. All right, coffee time. That's how he said it.
Cafecito.
I was just trying
There's no
not to
cafe.
snort. That's all.
Are you still allowed to drink coffee?
Monster coffee
Yes.
is good. Campfire latte, I've had it. Pretty delicious.
If you want bougie, Bird Rock Cafe.
Been in Bird Rock.
Yeah, and if you want snobby coffee, that's bougie. It's a Blue Bottle.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that was my jam when Loyal first started. They were
Mhm.
up in Del Mar.
Yeah.
Got a lot of Blue Bottle.
Yeah.
My bank account probably is still recovering from that.
Yeah, no, but they were early on the trend of how much would you like to tip? You just took my order, so nothing. Like
Yeah.
there you go. You're not making my drink. I'm very strict on tipping.
I saw a thing where it said if I have to order,
the show's gone off the
standing, you're not-
rails.
yeah.
Chucky Lozano to SDFC. Sure.
Port Vita. I've been to Port Vita quite a bit. I always
In
usually
Logan?
stop there when I'm in Logan. Or
Mujer Divina on 3rd Avenue is pretty good.
Boo.
Their burritos are good.
Boo!
Have you tried their burritos?
Gentrification.
Have you tried their burritos?
I had, and you know what?
Pretty good.
You know what? I don't like the social media responses of those individuals because they are stuck up and they can do a little bit better. And this is coming from a native National City person.
Oh, that's good. To
And
know.
I'm glad that they're out of my city and into your filthy Chula Vista.
Oh,
That's cool. Thanks.
you struck a chord.
Yeah, I mean he's just salty.
We
National City. At least I still live in the city that I like love. You know, why don't you live in National City? That's what I thought.
Because I can't afford it. It's all $1 million homes now.
Mm.
In the same goddamn trailer park I used to live at. All right. Coffee talk. I love it. Shout out.
Costco coffee.
By the way, yes, Por Vida is where Alejandro Guido famously did that step over in front of Landon Donovan.
Yes.
Drinking the coffee. And he just watched him walk along. That must have been a
Shout out to Alejandro Guido and his nephew.
Yeah, no, Alejandro Guido and his nephew scored a great goal, and I believe we'll get into it a little bit next week when we have a little bit more time. We'll bring back goals, gaps, and greats. Definitely something that's up there. Great, developing story. Hopefully, gets poached up by the Right to Dream Academy. He's young enough, so we'll see. Abe, hi. Do you have any favorite coffee places?
Bird
Right?
a few times after I've gone to Bird Rock a few times after the San Diego Wave trainings because it's pretty close by. I like it there. When I go to UCSD with my girlfriend, we go to Pinpoint Cafe a lot. That's pretty cool. Beautiful view there. Coffee's like all right, but like you're literally like just looking at the ocean the whole time. So that's pretty cool.
It's a crime, 619 Soccer, that you've had more Dunkin' coffee than Starbucks, and also that you refuse to stick to tradition and call it Dunkin' Donuts, even though it is Dunkin', but that's one of the dumbest marketing moves I've ever seen.
I think I don't think that's a crime. I got in a Dunkin' phase. I do.
No, just calling it Dunkin'.
Dunkin'.
Oh,
Dunkin'
yeah.
The
Donut.
crime.
Like,
Well, he's saying, is it a crime that I've had more Dunkin' than Starbucks? I said, I don't think so. I don't think so.
It's a lot of sugar.
Yeah,
That
it is.
I'm a health nut.
Oh, see, now you are.
But to answer your question, yes, I can have coffee. It's in this month and a half, I've had 12 ounces of coffee.
That's what I was about to ask. Like, what's
I
the
have
ounce
it-
amount
I
that you
have
could
it.
allow to
You
take?
can't even have the black, just black.
Just
straight
no,
black
no,
coffee?
I can, but I'm like just insane moding this thing where, all right, so just to break it down, I can only have about no more than 800 calories a day, and it comes through shakes. I have to have shakes / like little protein bars, but all that add up to no more than 800 calories. And so I've always been a water drinker, but I have to balance my water with the sodium. So I can't drink more than 128 / a gallon for all of you non-converters, a gallon of water.
Yeah.
And so I have to, and all of the liquid, all the coffee, all the shakes have to fit in within that gallon. So you can't go over, because then you start diluting yourself from sodium, which is important through this process, I guess. I'm breaking all top of my own HIPAA regulations here, but it's fine. It's a great time. Coffee's great. I miss food. It was my it was literally my there's war crimes that I can compare this to, but there was a realtor party, and they literally had my favorite foods in abundance. There was 5 taco shops. There was the birria place who had the cart out there. And then everybody around me was eating and drinking. And I was like, if I can survive this, I can survive anything. Today at work, there was a giant barbecue by a shoeless, sandal wearing white man who doesn't know what seasoning is on a burger. And I'm sorry,
That's my
but
boss, man.
well, he should, in his evaluation, he should put more seasoning on
I'll
his
note
food.
that.
Please note that. Shout out. But yeah, that's the reality of things. That's a little life update for San Diego Football. Yes, it is crazy. 800 calories is crazy, but the amount of energy and calories that already exist in the body is enough to keep me sustained and power a small village for a couple weeks. All right, let's get back to SDFC. We were talking a little bit earlier. We've touched on it. Hey, you're gonna dox yourself with your
Abe
Abe.
is still holding
Well,
his
I know,
Costco
your
card.
Costco
I
card.
know, I'm
Hey,
just
like,
playing
that's
with it. I need to stop.
thing I wanted to
Just
say.
flexing on it.
But yeah. Do you want to remain on? Abe, I'll leave it up to you.
To talk about what? That's all good.
You're fine. You'll be here in spirit. All right. So a couple things with SDFC. You know, we already mentioned that the signings and the potential timeline and maybe even location throughout this episode of an announcement for Chucky Lozano. If you're paying attention, you can put the pieces together. Honestly, it's like John Cena's Instagram. Like, there's no context, but it all means something at the end of the day. You'd like John Cena's Instagram. But in any case, SDFC is, you know, really coming together in terms of the community that we've talked about. They're putting these aspects in. We already mentioned Ricardo Campos, pretty much really highlighting the in-game experience and making Snapdragon feel like it belongs to SDFC.
What the fuck is this?
What?
I'm looking at John Cena's Instagram. What is this shit?
Is it Stone Cold Fridays?
There's
I mean, I'll share my
Stone Cold
screen.
Sock Boy on there.
Let's throw it on there, Shiva.
I got you.
Let's do that. While you do that,
By the way, ¿qué es esto? What is this?
Absolute Stone Cold Sackboy. That's on Fridays. Every Friday is Stone Cold themed. That dog actually just died a couple days ago.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, sad.
I actually have never stumbled upon John Cena's Instagram either.
Look at
sad.
look at his bio too. Like, throw it back up
John
there.
Cena.
I don't need you to read it. We can. It's a visual medium too, Chiva. But you can read it now when people see it. Go.
Welcome to my Instagram. These images will be posted without explanation for your interpretation. Enjoy. You freaking love that.
Yeah, I'm the first follower, as you can tell. But yeah, so local San Diegan, John Cena. He lives around here.
Really?
Yeah, like
Didn't know
he's
that.
a La Jolla native. You can find him at Pacific Beach on Bank of America from time to time, driving his 2019 Honda Civic R Series. He really enjoys that car. He actually just got a 2024 one. He's a gearhead, but he loves his manual stick shift 2019. I know a lot about John Cena.
The ref from Mexico that ref the final just got 2025 Honda Civic.
Oh,
Yeah, that's how much America paid.
I know. Yeah, no, I know as much as John Cena. It's almost as if I had a condition to almost meet him, which is not ideal. There's a joke. I don't know who says it. Like, he's the angel of death for Make-A-Wish kids. Like, if you see John Cena, you know you're close to the end.
I think he does hold the record, right? To
He
make
does.
a wish.
He does. So if you see John Cena and
yeah.
you're in the hospital, I'm sorry. I got, start making
I'd be like,
arrangements.
shit.
Oh
Cool.
my gosh.
SDFC. So they've also gotten into the sphere, obviously, of being a leader in the space of social equality and putting themselves like from somebody who's worked within.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, in sports in general, recently in recent years, there's been a bigger push to say, not just with Pride, but with other, say, Black History Month, with other just components of the year, to really tap into it. But sometimes it seems disingenuous. Sometimes it seems like more of a marketing. Sometimes it seems like, oh, it's June. Let's throw our rainbow logo up and that's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
San Diego FC got into the fray for this year with Pride Month, with their iteration with a woven into one graphic that went up on their social media pages. And I mean, I saw this and I'm like, cool, great, good. Like, there's no negative to be taken away from this at this point, because it seems like, well, they don't have a team to really back this up. They don't have like anything to really sink in, but like, is this a conscious sort of effort? Is this a status quo thing where like every sports team now has to kind of lean into it? It's almost, when you see some teams not do it, they get called out for it. Is it, a box they have to check? What's kind of that evolution been here on a macro level in American sports?
Yeah, I think I have a couple examples. I remember when I was at the Los Angeles Lakers, they historically didn't post any holiday, didn't really adopt anything. And the idea was that, like, if we do one thing, we're gonna have to do it for all things, right? Because the potential of getting called out. And I remember San Diego waived their first year. Typically teams, and this was discussed when I was at Loyal too, is when you're establishing your brand, you don't want to change the colors, you don't want to change the logo. And
Or put it upside down.
yeah, I forgot about that stone brewing for a second. But I remember at the time I was consulting for Wave, and they didn't want to change their logo for Pride. And obviously
Interesting.
in NWSL, that is, like every team is doing it. So there was a moment, I think, for like a day that every single team had changed their logo for Pride to their Pride color version, and San Diego Wave did not. Now, you can make of that what it is, but I do think now it's very important to feel seen, right? For these, these communities, not to almost feel like a minority and like you're doing this as a favor, but like you're actually doing something with purpose and meaning. Now, I've also been with organizations where it is all just marketing driven, or it is just the social media person being very in tune and being like, hey, we gotta change this, or we're gonna attract, like attention for not doing it. I think in this instance for San Diego FC, I think it's really tough because like their community relations team probably isn't really built out. So like what kind of, like I'm sure they would love to have a cause to support. I think for what they're doing now, I commend them for posting this. Obviously, we see the comments, and I was reading some of them, and it was people being like, "Oh God, like we don't want you to become San Diego loyal," like all this stuff. And I think we heard tonight, especially from the siren, sorry, I forgot the Sirens call. Sirens,
Call of Sirens.
Call of Sirens. Sorry, and how important that it is for this is part of the community. And I think as I've gotten more into the soccer world of things, I think I commend this sport. Probably the only other one I could think of is the WNBA, in terms of being very open, being very vocal, and showing visual representation when it comes to Pride. And there's something that I remember when I was at the Los Angeles Lakers, is their Pride game is always a preseason game. And I always crapped on that, because it was like, right, you're like, a preseason game is like, oh, we're doing it, but it's not the regular season. I'm like, how much of an impact could you have actually putting this like Pride night onto a regular season a game? But I think they were like worried of the optics that can't come with that. And I'm sure when San Diego FC in their social team was going to post this, they knew it was going to come with a lot of trolling comments. But if they didn't do something, I think that would have spoken a lot louder. And I think that is the tough aspect of what you're saying, though, is like some people do feel, and some teams do feel obligated to do it just so they avoid. Because I think there's probably a lot of teams out there that really, from the top ownership level or whatever, like really don't want to do too much. But it is the one person, posting that's like doing it basically just to make sure that, this community is seen, is heard, and is like basically makes them feel welcomed, as opposed to like, oh, you guys aren't doing anything.
Yeah.
Oh, so you don't care. And now like, oh man, are you not that open to our community? Are you close, like whatever it is. So yeah, I think I do. I really commend San Diego FC for putting this out, especially like you said, they don't have a team to kind of get behind this. They don't have a lot of resources currently to do large scale kind of community initiative yet, which I think we'll probably see in the build up to this team closer to the season launching. So, I know Wave is doing a lot too with merch. We're doing a merch shoot on Monday, actually, with some of the players. and I'm sure they'll probably post some of that. But I think it's cool to see how Wave takes it in a very unique way. I still remember, and I'll share this one last little bit. My first year, I wanted to do something with the players that really gave their voice to what pride meant. And I interviewed Kristen Westphal.
Okay.
And she gave this really, really powerful answer about how she really never felt comfortable coming out. And it was really this community of soccer that made her feel empowered to do so, and felt welcomed, and felt, like vulnerable enough that she didn't think it would be looked at negatively. And still, to all the things I've done with Wade, that's one of my favorite things I've done. And it's interesting because Jody Taylor came up to me after we posted that, and she's been out, I think came out years ago, but she didn't know that I had this conversation prior with Kristen Westphal about this, and she thought I just sprung this question on Kristen in the moment. And she's, she kind of like laid into me, and she's like, never put her on the spot like that again. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, sorry, Jody. I was like, but I actually had a full conversation with Kristen with this. Like, we let her check the video ahead of time. We want to make sure she was comfortable with us posting it. And she was like, really? Kristen didn't tell me that, but it's interesting to the different levels of comfort within people that have been out. But are also like looking out for the people that they know aren't as comfortable. And I think as I've really gotten to know a lot of the people within the LGBTQ plus community, whether that's in locals, Rainbow Sirens, and a lot of the supporter groups, I guess, like I don't mean for this to be tone deaf. Like, I don't see their sexuality. I just see them as a person, and that never comes into play. So, but I do understand how much it means to them for you to, like I marched in the Pride Parade with Wave the last 2 years and taken photos, and it's been some of the most fun visuals I've had, because I feel like that community also like knows how to have a good time and knows how to party. So I personally love seeing them also in an environment where they feel so comfortable, because it gives me perspective on stepping into a sports kind of environment where it doesn't feel so welcoming. So a very long-winded answer, but I think to me, bottom line, I give credit to any sports organization that's going to put something out there, even if it's just this graphic, because it does say, hey, guess what? 2025, you're going to be welcome into our stadium, and we want you to feel welcome.
It's like, I think of that Michael Jordan line where he was talking about, why don't you talk about politics? Why don't you align yourself with anything? And I think it was something along the lines of like, well, Republicans buy shoes too. Right. And so that's definitely a stance that San Diego could have taken, of just said, well, like, we want to toe a line, we want to be fence sitters, and we don't necessarily want to pick a side or necessarily throw ourselves into it. Because again, the people who are commenting, and you see it on Instagram, and it's going to happen regardless. If it's year one, if there's a team, the people who are commenting negatively of like, keep this out of soccer, we don't need this, or you've just I just wove myself out of buying season tickets. That's just going to happen regardless. And so where is that real, like, well, do you want to piss some people off? And then, because that's just nature. Like, human nature is like that. It's going to be divisive. It's going to be polarizing. And I think, just it's going to lead to a conversation, and hopefully there's growth from that. But again, like at the end of the day, like, I think that really putting yourself into this position of, hey, like, this is what we're going to stand for. And it's just like a warning shot. And if you're not going to come with, that's on you, but we're going to go ahead and head this direction. And then,
do you even want fans that are like that? I mean, think about it, right? You don't want people like that in your stadium.
Yeah, no, they're the ones that are going to start the chant, the homophobic chant in Spanish. Like, they're going to be the ones to do those things that are going to affect potentially what happens on the field in a negative way. And that's the one thing that, as a Mexican fan, like, you know what, like, we grew up with that chant. We understand it. We've been in positions where
I mean, we've argued for like, you know, they don't really say it like that. But then you also understand, you have to understand, oh, well, I mean,
But it's affecting.
And one, it's a rule already in place.
Yeah.
Follow the goddamn rules. And if you're not allowed to say it, then don't fucking say it.
Yeah.
Like, simple as that.
Mhm.
I do think with San Diego FC posting this as well, especially with the target audience that trying to reach mainly Mexican people, being gay is a very big thing in the Mexican community where if you're gay, you're being a lot of times you're being frowned upon. And a lot of people in the Mexican culture don't come out because of the same thing. So I think it's also very strong on San Diego FC saying like, hey, yeah, we're trying to like get the Mexican audience in this, but also try to like say, hey, we're gonna be like about this.
Sorry, you talking about this makes me think of a photo I took of Colin Martin, and this is actually the last. I think this is the last Loyal match. The playoff loss against Phoenix, and to me, you know, growing up in the Midwest, I think what I love about California too is, you know, the openness for any kind of like walks of life, and I think this to me is powerful because like I didn't grow up ever seeing something like this. And I think when I saw this photo, or when I took this photo and I saw this photo, but like looked back, I remember I sent it to Colin and I forgot. I would have to go way back to see what he said. But I think there was a time where he would feel really self-conscious about this. And seeing how comfortable he was to kiss his boyfriend in front of thousands of fans after a game, to me was like, I was like, this is really cool. Because I can't imagine, and like knowing, you know, like I went into LA with him for that. I think it was a Black Lives Matter, Trans Lives Matter parade in LA. And I remember him sort of telling me like, I've never really done many of these things and I don't feel that comfortable. And to sort of go from that moment to, you know what, 4 years later, seeing that. And that was sort of my last memory at the last Loyal match. But that was like super cool. And I think that's something I think about of like, I don't know why anyone would care that much to like be angry at something like that, where I'm like, I think that's beautiful, especially for him, but also like, I don't care. That doesn't ruin my fan experience. That doesn't like, even if I have kids, you know, and like the people that have been screaming like, oh, my kids don't need to see that. Like, like your kids are going to probably see a lot worse at a stadium than that.
They have internet. They figured it out, guys. I'm sorry. They know your password. Like it's over. And then what, you know, you mentioned that's just really cool. Even from just that aesthetic standpoint, like there's only two people in this picture. For me,
for sure.
Like there's only like, of course, there's background, there's the fodder, but like on an aesthetic standpoint, this is literally just two people having a moment, and there's nobody else around them. And I don't care who you are, what you are. The fact that this was also tied and next to a moment that had to do with soccer is why it's important to say, hey, as long as you enjoy the fucking game. As long as you play, as long as you like, as long as that stays, it's an effervescentness to really just be able to take that ride with everybody. And then at the end of the day, hey, you're going to go ahead and enjoy. Everybody's going to go ahead and enjoy how they enjoy. And it's also understanding the other side of like that image even now may make them people uncomfortable because of the way that they were raised, because of the way that their notions, and while it's understandable to do that, much like it's understandable to see the other side of things, it's just a moment of growth that can happen in general. And you know what does that have to do with soccer? And I think we've talked about it a couple times in this episode. Is just it has everything to do with it. And much like if that was a heterosexual couple or a gay couple or any type of couple, it has nothing to do with it, and it has everything to do with it. It's both at the same time. And for there to be, there's only specific things in life that can be both things at once. And I think that's one of them where like, hey, like you can be who you want to be in the sport. You can believe what you want. And at the end of the day, fuck, we had a guy here that stormed the Capitol allegedly. But he was able to have a platform because he played the game. And that was the chance that he was given because of the game, not defending anything that was potentially done, but at the end of the day, like that's still the sanctity of the sport and what's beautiful of it, because it can include everybody,
Mhm.
everybody. And again, back to SDFC, like good, stand your ground. Like I really like that. And again, there's not a lot of soccer per se to talk about right now, but this just had such a knee-jerk vitriol charged reaction from individuals. Shout out to procrastinating Puma. You've seen him on the Discord, Mr. Pearson, who was literally commenting on every single one of the people hating and just going in and like, oh yeah, it must suck to have no joy in your life. Like I
Yeah.
love that.
No.
Just be complete and true ally. But it's an aspect of it. Yeah.
No, I was just saying, I think the way I look at this SDFC post of Soccer for All always in the colors is I look at this as like this is just an open door, and it's an open door to that community, and knowing that they're part of what they're going to be about going forward. And like you said, I think that's the best way to sort of introduce without going too deep, right? There's no link to anything.
Mhm.
And I think it's a powerful enough statement on it as it is. And to me, a lot of times you can get very wordy and social and everything. And this is like, hey, this is simple, straight to the point.
Less
and
is
like,
more.
yeah, less is more. And like, let the slogan do the talking, right? It's not a new slogan.
Mhm.
It's been
Yeah.
a slogan they've been using, but right, showing that colorway in it, I think it's been a representation they haven't really shown up until this point, but perfect timing.
Like the great Princess Elsa once said in Frozen, "Love is an open door."
Oh,
Who would have thought? Frozen references.
Love is an open door.
Yeah, it's a good song.
oh,
Yeah, no,
all
Have you
right.
watched
yeah.
Frozen?
No,
I actually haven't watched the whole movie, but I know the song.
yeah, I mean,
It's a good movie.
It's one of those movies that they got you.
Is Moana better than Frozen?
Did you know? No. Did you know
Okay.
that there is here we go. There's a conspiracy theory that says that movie was called Frozen because before the movie, if you looked up Disney Frozen, it would lead you into that rabbit hole of is Walt Disney cryogenically frozen? So
Ooh.
then now when you look up Disney Frozen, obviously the movie pops up and then just erases any talk about that. So
No, that's crazy.
keep
They're also Tarzan siblings.
they are 100%. They are linked.
Mhm.
The movie what is it? There was another movie that came out that's a Snow White prequel actually. Disney does some interesting moves sometimes.
All of this
Sometimes
confirmed
they do.
too. So.
Yeah,
Sources
sources.
confirmed.
Sources.
Sources
Fabrizio
confirmed.
Romano. All right. We were talking just SDFC, any in game day experience stuff or anything else that we want to touch on?
No, I think we kind of hit on it. I'm for one just excited because I think we've gotten used to seeing what San Diego Waves game day experience is. I can't personally speak too much to it because I feel like I'm pitch level most of the time. I do run
It's
up
fun.
into the
It's
stands
fun.
to get some stuff. But I think it is going to be really interesting because they've had so much time to really kind of like go to wave games. They've gone to write these international friendlies, and I think knowing that they have a good segment of people that are from Loyal that's probably learned from that experience and what they want to bring, and then some of the new people that like Seb who moved here and has his experience elsewhere. But I'm like knowing I've gone to some of their events that they have hosted at Snapdragon and it kind of pops off. I'm excited because I think it's going to be very immersive. I think they're going to brand the heck out of that stadium, and it's not going to feel, not to say that I don't think San Diego Wave does a good job of that, but I would suspect that San Diego FC, sorry, I'm getting crossed up there. I think they're gonna sort of paint that stadium in a way that maybe San Diego Wave hasn't.
It's gonna be a party every game.
Yeah,
It's gonna be like when you go to Cholos pre-games and they have all these pop-up tents and everything and games to play for adults and everything. That's what the SDFC is gonna do.
Hey Richie, pyro every game. I don't care. Just pyro.
Smoke,
like just
smoke too,
yeah.
please.
Everything. Like it just figure it out, pay the fines.
If they allowed it at the Champions League final, you can allow it. Come on.
There have been some good ideas for game day experience for those Snapdragon workshops. Yeah, I've seen and zoomed in on some of the whiteboards that they've been having as far as like ideas between supporter groups and club in that. So yeah, no, I mean the ideas that are down the line. What I do like, and this is something again that should be at every single game, is that at the Chula Vista event, my biggest compliment to SDFC wasn't that they usurped Lil Rob from National City and kind of gentrified him into Chula Vista. Anyway,
Haters gonna hate. When you're from National City, you use hate on Chula Vista naturally.
yeah, it's
That's
a
okay.
Springfield, Shelbyville type of thing. Simpsons reference again.
Just because we're
Cultured
not
National
ghetto.
City
It's
with
'cause
no,
we're not ghetto.
Chula Vista swine wouldn't. That's a very harsh term. I love that.
Swine, Chula Vista. Chato pobre.
See, now I lost the train of thought. Choo choo. There we go. What were they talking
Chula
about?
Vista FC.
Oh,
Rob.
yes, is that they have damn, no Rob. They bought and purchased ring aprons and turnbuckle
Oh,
covers
really?
that are SDFC branded.
That's cool.
So like
Okay.
it's really fucking cool. And that's what, like, honestly, that's the coolest aspect. I saw Travis and I talked to him like, you know what the coolest thing here it is? You guys got that because you can just put a pop-up lucha libre whenever you want and just put SDFC on it every single time. So that's little details like that.
In Fresno for the taco truck throwdown with like the 35 taco trucks we would have at the stadium, there was a promoter that had Lucha Extreme Wrestling.
Mhm.
And same thing, like anytime we had that taco truck event, there was always Lucha Extreme Wrestling, and it was great. So I like knowing that ring could be out front, of like a gate on like a Hispanic Heritage Night or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I love that. I'm all about like build that immersion right before you walk in,
Mhm.
and I think that's what knowing what San Diego FC has already done. But like I feel like that's gonna be the moment you drive into a parking lot to the like walking into the stadium, everything, like they're just gonna have so many kind of like, right, they call it like the old school term is like touch points, like that you're gonna be like fully in kind of like engrossed in this experience.
And TikTok, because time is running out. February is the kickoff of the MLS season that's going to feature the 30th franchise in San Diego FC. And, there needs to be a team. And hopefully after the announcement of Chucky Lozano here coming up at a undisclosed location, probably already said it a couple times, gave it a shout out, Nas played there maybe. But it's going to be a definite catalyst to this movement, SDFC. Think both clubs should be more supportive of tailgating. Agreed. Like give the clubs that space and really let the teams and the supporter groups have the ownership of that. By the way, just kind of super side, I really hope that the supporter groups in general come together, make make sound and rational decisions and be one. I think that's one aspect that just cannot break down, because that's the only responsibility that doesn't lie on SDFC completely is the building of the supporter group and building of that supporter section. We know a lot of people throughout the last couple of years that have been involved. We've seen people from 1904 kind of resurface and build a team of their own. But I mean, it's one of those things where if that's not together, I don't know how San Diego as a soccer city is really going to flourish. If the people who are supporting the soccer team isn't together as one. And so I hope that everybody gets it worked out. What's this random note? Last week, Austin Guerrero played Weston at a Sunday league game. Hey,
amazing.
I don't know if that's Weston upping his game or Austin just on the decline.
The only time I've ever played goalkeeper wars, I lost to Weston. So that should tell you. I also think that was the day that I blew my gasket. And
Weston also played goalkeeper over the back of, what was his name for the Soccers?
Boris Pardo?
Xavier
in the same like indoor soccer team.
He did, and he also was called up by the one and only Shannon McMillan to be a goalkeeper at a event in Coachella, I believe, or the desert that they had. So yeah, I mean, he's a decent goalkeeper.
Best non-professional soccer goalkeeper in San Diego.
Yeah, after Tony Sanchez, absolutely.
You're not a pro. Sorry.
Is he a pro?
No,
Are you saying he's a pro?
He's better than you.
No, you just said pro.
No, so best.
Has he been paid
non-pro
to play?
non-pro.
Has he been paid to play?
Okay, that does not count.
by that logic, then us being professional commentators doesn't count.
We're not.
I don't know, man.
I mean, MASL.
Check my LinkedIn. Just shit on MASL.
MASL's crap. Come on.
I will say, to Jeremy's point about the tailgating, something that I would love to see with the supporter groups, and I know it can be done because one of the guys, I think Justin
Riptides.
Riptides. I think he's from Oceanside, and he's a Chargers fan. I know that's a hot topic, but like
Osiders. Yeah.
To me, the best pregame tailgate experience I've ever seen in any sports team is Thunder Alley with the Chargers.
Yep.
It's even carried with SoFi. Like, it's a very inviting, like, it's a destination for fans. Like, I have to go out and photograph that area a lot, and sometimes I won't be on the tailgate, but I'll be other places, and there'll be so many people being like, which way is the tailgate? And I think I mentioned this to Jesse at Wave, and I think, maybe SDFC is thinking about this already. But what's over?
The 3 hours.
Oh, yeah. I blame Tony and his coffee, but like, I think that would be cool if they had Riptides, if they had locals, if they had sorry, I don't know what Chavos turned into, the new name. I apologize.
Fronteras.
Ultras.
Yeah. Okay. No silent H in there, right?
No.
Okay,
Probably
cool.
somewhere in there.
There isn't Fronteras.
But I think if they created like a tailgate setup that also invited fans to kind of come through there, they each had their stands, right? I think at Thunder Alley, like, they're allowed to, they can't sell the food, but they can make food and they give it out, all that stuff. So I just think it creates like a cool destination pregame area for fans to kind of, and also like just gives a precedent to that, like, come early tailgate, have fun, get rowdy a little bit if you want to get rowdy. But you're showing me something.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it, and now all I'm seeing is old school Chiva, and it's scaring me. Let's see.
But I will give a lot of shout out to San Diego Wave fans, because I'll get there sometimes. I usually get there around 4 hours before a game, and there'll be people in the parking lot already tailgating. And I say this to the people we photograph with, and I'm like, go out to the tailgate, because like, people are out there and having fun. So this is an international friendly.
So this is the Mexico-Cameroon international friendly here, and it's literally what you're talking about. And it's possible you see the families with the barbecue. You see different
Kevin.
Yeah, the Chavos.
Kevin, yeah, absolutely different guests.
That's not Kevin.
That's not
Kevin.
But what you showed before.
What I showed before was Kevin.
That's
boom.
Kevin.
Yeah,
that's Kevin right there.
That's the Chavos.
That's Sancha. But yeah,
very lovely.
That's right. You do know what that means. But yeah, I mean, again, the invitation to really walk through it, it's possible. We saw people playing soccer in between the cars. Like, that's really the atmosphere that can be built, and it's possible. Like, this was a prime example. And we went over to the U.S. national team, Gold Cup, Panama, U.S. While I will say that the American Outlaws had a better performance inside the stadium overall than the Mexican Porra, which, it's difficult for me to say. Outside, it's no contest. Mexico fans just absolutely
we got a couple
destroyed.
beers and free food and ceviche at Mexico game one, and can't say the same about the American one.
You maybe get a cold hot dog.
Not even that. Actually, no, we did get offered a beer.
We did get offered. No, 100%. Yeah, no. See, you got a little, aside from the right-hand side, just everybody has their little, like the kit, right? You have the charcoal, the carbon, the carne asada, the soccer ball that's going to get kicked once or twice. Because clearly.
No, it's for the kids. It's for the kids.
It's for the kids.
Believe it or not, that tent also had kids.
Where's the caguamas?
They're already inside. We got there late for the consumption of that, but it's possible. Like, that positive tailgating experience is definitely something that is
I think I think the club should just endorse it and make it to where they have more of a structured setup for like the hardcore people that want to create that tailgate experience, and it becomes sort of that, like an alley you can go through. I think that'd be fun, and cool. Rather than just being like, oh, these are the places you can tailgate and it's this price. Like, I know the Chicago Bear fans always have this issue because there's such limited parking around their stadium, and you have to pay like out the wahoo to be able to tailgate. And like I am a little concerned at how much parking is going to be. I don't know if
$50.
I don't know if
Oh my
SDFC has already come out with that, but like I know it's $40 at Wave,
Mhm.
and I cringe at that. I'm just like, that's I know,
It shouldn't be more expensive
Yeah.
than Disneyland parking.
yeah. Like let's not just make it. Let's not
Make
have
it
it
there.
take away from the experience. So I just hope tailgate is a little more structured. They kind of like maybe feed it into their pregame area that's on the grass. I know a lot of teams like to do. So like have it be part of the atmosphere, because I think, to me, like anything that a team wants to manufacture, like a pregame fan fest, all that, like
Mhm.
to me, that it's organically let the fans are going to create a better experience. And to me, I even walk around to some of the tailgate areas for Wave and stumbled upon like Alex Morgan's family, and I didn't even know it. I saw like Charlie walking around, and then all of a sudden it was like her dad like offered me like food and all that stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, is Alex Morgan's family? I didn't expect that they tailgated before the game.
Yeah.
But so I think it's just cool to see mostly what you said. It's just the families and the community of people that are all just kind of having fun. I ran into like a bunch of college kids once playing beer pong and like going crazy. So like, I think that's like, it's just a cool aspect that makes, I think anytime you can extend the game beyond the 90 minutes, and that's what we all love, let's make that happen.
What did Alex Morgan's family offer you? Chipotle?
It's your favorite Mexican food.
You like that one, huh?
That was good. That was good. I like that a lot. I like that.
All right, gentlemen. Any final thoughts? SDFC will be back with the goals, gaps, and grades for next week.
Chucky,
They will, Ryan. However, SDFC will start to build some admin infrastructure to build it. Yeah, but that's the thing. It's everybody's job to make that experience, even if it goes counter to what the club says. Because guess what? They can dictate what happens inside. MLS and Snapdragon can dictate what happens inside. You can get away with a lot more outside, and just spread out.
Absolutely.
Be smart about it. Literally, just be smart about it. Like when I used to work with the kids in a less socially economic diverse area, I think that was the biggest lesson that I kind of just taught those kids is like, look, you have it rough. You have it this. You're gonna do what you're gonna do. Just make sure you're smart about it. And that's something that across the board people can go ahead and
shaping
do.
America's youth, America's future, right there.
Yeah, well, I've shaped a couple of college
great
students.
job. You do a great job.
I know
at it.
I do.
know you do.
Yeah, I know you do.
His walls at the picture at the Y. His pictures at the wall at the Y.
It's one of the most disgusting pictures I've ever taken.
With a beard or no beard?
Beard.
Yeah, no, it's like it's just
let's go.
uncontrolled, and I looked.
It's okay. It's okay.
I looked.
That picture looks like he shouldn't be working with kids.
It does.
Yeah.
I will be the first one to attest to that. It's like, oh, Megan's Law list? No.
Oh.
I think that's where we wrap.
And that's where we end.
Absolutely. This has been another 3-hour banger here for Two Balls
Also,
and a
you
Mic.
put over, you won.
Absolutely, because they know. You know it's
Owed him a
time.
beer on Friday. I'm just kidding. Buy Ryan a beer on Friday on his birthday after the game.
After the game.
After he's off.
Before, again, you can
Four,
be
two.
smart about it.
Tailgate lot.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
right.
Thank you, Ryan, for once again coming in. Thank you for everybody who has joined in. Call of the Sirens was fantastic once again. We're going to go ahead and do that in 2 weeks. Tomorrow, we have a scheduled phone call with Manchester United legends. Ridiculous. Andy Cole, not Cole. Andy Cole.
Yes,
Excuse me.
Andy
Sorry,
Cole,
it's Man U.
Manchester
Me
United
vale madre,
legend.
me
It's
vale
not Ashley
madre.
Cole, it's Andy Cole.
Andy
even
Cole.
bigger.
So we're gonna go ahead and drop that interview talking about some Manchester United stuff. Obviously the game at Snapdragon that's happening. And overall, we are gonna be continuing the coverage. We are also starting something in Spanish because SDFC needs something in Spanish.
I think we can say it.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos a San Diego Fútbol. Vamos a hablar de el fútbol en San Diego con San Diego FC. Ryan, ¿qué es lo que piensas de San Diego FC y lo que han hecho aquí?
El Chucky Lozano, compa. Hierro pariente.
You guys lost me, but it's okay. I love
We're
that.
starting a Spanish project for SDFC as well.
I love that.
You're welcome,
Needed.
SDFC. Ryan, thank you. Abe, thank you.
Gracias.
Have a good one. There he is. Bye-bye.